The way I f her is not the best she's ever had. She's had bigger and better than me. She hasn't told me this, but I know. I'm almost positive Devin's had bigger, better than mine.
Abba and Preach video. Damn, I need like a second. Like a Destiny and whatever. These guys all work in pairs. Destiny and D&D. Oh, D&D. Oh my god. Oh, they did a hit piece on my man, Donovan? Oh no.
Marries a woman past the age of 23 years old, you're getting leftovers. But yeah, David, listen, man. I'm not trying to be mean-spirited, but you married a single mom. Like, post-wall women, they get married all the time. But I'm not trying to be mean-spirited, but you married a single mom. Like,
bro, I've had people email me. So I'm pretty sure I'm debating this guy because I think Myron's got it set up. And I've had people email me so much shit on this dude. Like, I hate this. 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 I wish I was the sociopath you guys thought I was. But after the shit people emailed me, he's like, he's moved into the like, I kind of feel bad for him. I kind of feel bad for him. I have to do a bunch of research to figure out like what's true or not. But apparently he did marry a single mom. Does anybody know if that's true or not? Apparently he did marry a single mom. I've seen people like leaking me like court docs and shit to prove it, that she's got like a dependent under the age of like 11 or whatever. And it's like, yeah, he married like, but he gives these insane takes all the time. And it's like, it's that bad? Oh, that's what this video is about? Okay, well, I guess we'll find out. Okay, Jesus. Oh no.
Like, post-wall women, they get married all the time, but the men they get married to are very low value. They're beta males. They're pushovers. They're not real men. They're not the men that arouse these women.
I'm sorry. I can only do this a few more times. I know I've repeated myself a million times. I do not know how these guys. Oh, I figured it out. I just figured it out. I think the red pill shit came before Andrew and Tristan Tate. That's the answer. The current red pill guys don't come from Andrew and Tristan Tate. That's it. Because because in my mind I feel like those people are all downstream from Andrew and Tristan, but they're not. Andrew Tate, the Tates came up alongside those guys, or after those guys. That's the explanation. Because I can't understand how I can listen to the Tate guys who clearly are riz. I can tell that they know what they're doing. And then I listen to these red pill guys, and it's like, you guys sound like angsty virgins. That's what you guys sound like. How can you be in the same space? I don't understand. But yeah, Jesus. Okay, whatever.
So credits where credits due. This man makes fun of other people's spouses and different things like that.
Base.
Claims he would never date a single mom. Well, somebody pulled up his quote-unquote girlfriend's bankruptcy records, because those are public records that anyone has access to, and they found some interesting information.
Uh-oh.
Let's see, listen.
Uh-oh.
And I'll give credit to the people involved. I'll link the videos in below. So there you go.
Devin is one of just a few women I've dated, older women I've dated, who didn't have any kids when I met them. But again, they're the exceptions. Devin is my girlfriend. She is not my wife. We have never been married. She is not a single mother, and we have not adopted anybody. I got a 13-year-old niece that stays here at least twice a week. Because Olivia, she's 14 years old now, and she's a beautiful girl. She could.
And so as we now look at her application on the screen and go to the section describing her household, it states, do you have dependents? Yes. Does dependent live with you? Yes. Dependent's age, 10 years old. Dependent's relationship to debtor 1. Daughter.
I want to make something clear here.
Like, bro, what are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing, Donovan? D-Man. Bruv.
Don't care what kind of woman you choose to be your girl. Be with who you want to be. You want to date a single mom? I don't care. What I don't like, and what I think is very laughable, is you run a course, you have video clips making fun of other men for dating single moms and criticizing those women.
Now keep in mind that this also contradicts everything Donovan Sharp has taught his audience about the types of women to avoid, going all the way back to his days when he wrote for Return of Kings, to his free ebook called 16 Ways to Immediately Disqualify Her for a Relationship, where he states that single mothers should be avoided as they make for the worst girlfriends, wives, and mothers.
I was a single mom. And yes, listen, I know single moms are bad and this and that and the other, but we all got to start somewhere. Don't commit to them. You've been married before.
I have.
Okay, you've been married before.
I got married young, and I was married for a very long time. you know, for the 20-something years before we met, you know, as an adult, you know, for the 20-something years before we met, you know, as an adult, you know, for the 20-something years before we met, you know, as an adult.
I met you when you were 32. You are an older woman. Devin, my girlfriend, is an older woman. Okay? Yes, my girlfriend is an older woman. She turned 36 back in February. I misled my audience about Devin's age, but I did that for privacy purposes. Just listen.
How dude, the obsession with like 20-year-olds is so cringe. Oh my god.
Listen, Dev is 45.
Meanwhile, every day you get online and you lie about the
your
fact
wife.
that woman has a daughter.
And
that the woman that you call your girl, your wife, has a daughter.
Why is he hiding her age? Because these red pill guys are out here all the time talking about how horrible it is. Don't ever date single moms. Don't ever date older women. Only 20-year-olds. Only 18-year-olds. Only 19-year-olds. Like, and then homeboy over here, married to like a 45-year-old single mom.
And you're only are you lying about it? You lying about the fact that your girl's old, which is fine. But you lying about it while telling other people to not wife up used goods. That's what you say.
Devin is my girlfriend. She is not my wife. We have never been married. She is not a single mother, and we have not adopted anybody.
So you saying that during bankruptcy, she lied about the fact that this was her daughter? She lied to the government? Is that what you want us to believe?
Maybe
that she's committing fraud?
Maybe that's what it is. It's better than to accept that he's dating a single mother.
Okay, yes, I do. What do you take into conjunction the fact that the niece, who's exactly the exact same age, visits twice a week?
Coincidence?
The circumstantial evidence don't look good for you, does it?
Absolutely not.
Okay.
There are older women out here, older single moms who are out here out-competing younger childless women. So how would it, listen, I'm not saying this would be easy, but it is possible. So what would be your advice to your friend?
Well, okay, so does she have full custody of this child, or does she have shared parental?
Let's say she has a 50-50. Let's say
If
1
she's
week on, 1 week
50-50,
off.
then she's not a single mom.
Oh,
She's co-parenting.
Okay. Okay. That makes sense because you're not a single parent
Right.
at that point.
No,
Okay.
you're definitely not. You're no more single than a single parent than if you were still married.
Do you see how he makes it work? You see how he makes it work? They made up their own definition of single mom. If we share custody,
Got it here.
did you see what she did?
You did good.
Oh, I didn't do good.
No, I know.
There's
but
other
it's
people who did this
I know.
research.
That's not you. That's not you.
Hey, listen, Boo Boo, I'm gonna just tell you this right now. It's not because your kid goes to his dad's place 2-3 times a week that you're not a single mom. This is not an insult. It just is what it is. You are a mother and you are single. That's what the definition is. You've only changed it. Okay?
Oh, you
To
guys.
perpetuate the fraud.
You guys are good. You guys are good. You guys are good.
And if I'm wrong, I want all the red pill fans to come in the comments saying, am I wrong about what I'm saying? If a woman says, I ain't a single mother, she's with her dad 3 days a week, what you gonna say? What you gonna say?
Sorry.
Donovan Sharp made a video recently talking about my alleged wife.
So stupid.
Wait, Peaches or Preaches? These names.
Dumb.
And this,
Get some real goddamn names. Abba, Preach, Abba. What are we doing out here? Okay.
They're really
I feel like I'm talking to Trigun characters. Okay. Stop this.
try.
he really tried, and I'm gonna explain to you because I haven't spoken about it, and I'm explaining to you what happened. What happened was this: when the whole debacle with Fresh and Fit happened,
My name is super real. My name is so goddamn real you can find it in the fucking dictionary, fam. Okay.
they were trying to get some juice to get at us. And what happened on my other Instagram page that got canceled, that got deleted, right? They went to throughout all my pictures, and they went to see if they could find a picture of my wife. If you don't know anything about me, I don't post about what I got. I'm talking about where I live, vehicles, whatever. I don't post that. I don't put pictures. I don't put pictures of my people around me. Why? Because people on the internet are fucking weirdos, okay? They found a picture of someone, and I'm going cheeks to cheeks with that person, right? We're cheeks to cheeks, and we're blowing a kiss. And they took that picture and they said, that's his wife. Got him. It's not my wife.
No, she's a comedian.
She's a comedian.
And we've run a bunch of live shows.
Wait, is she the one that opened for Louis C.K.? Yo, the guy that opened was okay. The woman was pretty funny though. I don't remember what her name was, but Adriani Ayapalucci. Okay, you guys are just typing random letters now in chat.
And she's participating in a
She's
bunch
because she is.
I have pictures with her. He has pictures with her. Like, she's on a lot of her bills. Unless you think Preach married a comedian, I don't know. But like,
That's my homie. That is my homie
She's very
for
talented.
real.
She's very
Okay,
talented.
she is
For real,
not
for
my wife. Very talented comedian, very talented actress in Quebec, right where we live at. But she didn't know that. They went on and they ran with it, and they called this person a whole bunch of things, right? A whole bunch of names. Even if that person was my wife, let's say she was my wife. To go after people's wives, you have so little arguments that you have to go through people's wife.
It's actually gross too. Like when that Donovan guy, I guess like people see it as kind of like a win or a funny own or whatever. When he's complimenting how Melina looks, like, yeah, Melina might be younger and hotter than my wife, whatever. But like, it's really fucking gross because what if Melina wasn't younger, would he be making fun of her for it? If she wasn't like super hot or the hottest person or whatever, the fuck would you be saying she's ugly? Like, what does that even mean? Like, I don't know. I just think those types of comments are like super fucking disgusting because you know that if Melina was like 32, he'd be like, oh, he got a woman the same age as him, like how gross. Or if she like wasn't like fucking some Swedish fucking loser, he'd be like, oh, she's some fucking blah blah blah. Like, it's super super disgusting. Okay.
But you're so dumb that you don't even realize that's not even though. So you go out there and you slander someone that has no relationship to me. That's you.
Well, Cassie would have the world believe that she's always been this doting, dutiful. Oh, you know what? No,
So in this clip, now he's talking about another man and his wife, who also happened to be a single mother before he got married to her. And now he's talking about this woman named Cassie, who's that single mother. I want you to hear what he says about her.
Cassie West has been ran through. Cassie West was a single mom when she married David West. Cassie West chased bad boys. She's a Karen that was ran through like everybody else was a single mom. And this explains why this explains why David West is as weak as he is. But yeah, David, listen, man, I'm not trying to be mean-spirited, but you married a single mom. Like, that doesn't make you a bad dude. And Cassie, you being a single mom when you married David, that doesn't make you a bad person either. Just understand that it's out there. And so you guys on this holier than thou, oh, we did it the right way. Cassie, let's not pretend that you didn't take the typical route that most modern women take. And David, let's not pretend that you're some apex alpha male. Like, come on, like we both know.
Throwing stones from glass houses. You out here criticizing him, talking about he's not an alpha apex predator.
The sad thing is too, here's like the really sad thing, is the Donovan guy might actually be able to be like a decent example for red pill people. Like, he's a red pill guy, but he found a single mom and she's even a little older. They're around the same age. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with the fact she has a kid, right? He could be like doing all of it, but instead he's like, he lives his whole life like in fucking denial. Like,
What are you?
stupid.
At least he admits whatever life he's living to. Who cares? You're the one who's lying about the fact that she's a niece. You're the one who's lying about your girl's age. That's you, who are not even man enough to actually come into the light with the woman that you're with.
No matter where I'm at, all right, whether it's in my house or in my Airbnb when I'm away or in
Antarctica.
Or even when I'm taking a shit, I need to have access to all my programs.
Ad time.
But sometimes the internet doesn't allow me for that because it's restricted because of the area that I'm in. Yeah, and for that, I need a system that allows me to change my location. And that's called a VPN changer. Yes, and the wonderful VPN that I'm using is Surfshark. It allows you to just change the location of where you are. And you can watch everything that you want, no matter where you're at. Right now with Surfshark, you can just use promo code ABBA and Preach. Use promo code ABBA and Preach, and you're gonna be able to have 83% off. Plus,
Donovan said he'd smash both Abbas and Preach's teeth out in real life. Do you think he'd try some shit with you? I don't know. I was talking to Myron about setting it up, and Myron was like, yeah, like, I think if you debated Donovan, I'd want to be there for it because I don't want to like kick your ass. I was like, I don't really think you'd try anything, would you? But I don't know, Myron said that people get mad in some of these debates. I think it'd be funny. I don't know if I want to get my ass kicked on camera. It would be an experience, but if somebody actually got that fucking mad.
Plus, there's a plus. 3 months extra for free. I know, crazy. Get on it.
Any man who marries a woman past the age of 23 years old, you're getting leftovers. Devin, let me get you into this conversation because I met you when you were 32.
Pause. He said married. Again, he's playing on words.
He's married.
He's married to her?
He's married. They're just lying about the records.
It's sad.
It is.
That you entrapped and you have to lie to so many people. That's fucking sad, my guy. Being hostage to that image that you have to lie about, you spewing like hate and lies to people just to sell an image. You're a sad human being. I'm not even pissed off no more.
Let me be generous. Maybe it's not his wife. That's the girl that you've been in a committed long-term relationship for 5 to 6 years. It doesn't even change anything. The person you're choosing to make a long-term commitment to is exactly what you describe as a person not to get with to everyone else.
As ran through and as
used goods, that's your girl. That's how you talk about your girl.
Girls think it's cute and attractive to brag about their sexual escapades, but I waste zero time in 304 shaming them. I'll refer to Dev. Dude, when we first started dating, she used to brag about the dudes that she had smashed. Straight up. She used to brag about them. Dude, she used to brag all the time. Now, at first, I just told her, okay, stop. She didn't.
What?
Okay, let me just say something. I don't know what's wrong with your life, brother, and the women that you're with, but no woman comes to me to tell me about all the dudes they've been ran through by. You gotta be some fucking pathetic ass loser that they don't respect.
You like
if
that
women
shit.
are coming to you like, man, I took the biggest. Like, if women are saying that shit to you, you're a fucking loser, and they don't look at you anything better than the scum off their feet.
Nobody does that.
Bruh, I ain't never.
Unless-
Hey, hold up, guys in the comments, when you kick it with a girl and she likes you, have you ever heard her start talking about the previous she used to like to take? But you realize that a lot of these.
How do you even find these videos? Wait, did this guy Photoshop my hair even more blue than it actually is? Wait, what the fuck? Gaming nerd gives friend terrible breakup advice. Are you only worried about trying to pursue her because you're 28? You don't want to like get like. How old is this video? Aged out of the dating pool? Because technically, as a man, like you're probably good up until age 40. You can still reach into the 20s because that's just.
Again, see, this is a fucking video game nerd. Doesn't know what he's talking about. Oh, you can reach in the 20s up until age 40. What's up, guys? John Anthony here from John Anthony Lifestyle. In today's video, we're going to be looking at Destiny, this video game nerd, giving relationship advice to a viewer. Everyone's always like, Destiny, yeah. Like playing video games while he's giving advice here. So, yeah, sure, very qualified to know about relationships. But at least he seems somewhat intelligent. So let's go through and hear what he has to say.
God, this is gonna be a mistake.
It's going to be annoying video game sounds.
Hello.
Hi there. Nice to meet you, Dustin.
Oh, Jesus. You didn't tell me it was longer relationships. All right, you got until Moot finishes this game. What do you want?
I live
That's how he starts. What do you want?
in DC. I live in America, so it's an American relationship.
So you're like a foreign invader. It's even worse. But okay, go hit me up.
So, a little bit of backstory. So, a couple of years ago, just before Corona, I got in a relationship with this woman, Jay, we'll call her, and she was forced.
An asshole.
I already know whatever. I'm not too sure that it's going to be possible for her to even, or for us to even work out at all. Now, when she initially moved back,
Now he's laughing at the kid. He's like a huge fucking asshole.
Okay, this is a bait. I'm
These dudes who do this red pill manosphere stuff, a lot of them are just cornballs who actually have zero game and zero ability to seduce women.
Now, at first, I just told her, okay, stop. She didn't. And then I told her, look, stop it. She did it one more time. One more time. She tested me.
Hey, listen.
One more time.
No, can we just appreciate, again, this man established a boundary and said, don't do it. And the girl had so little respect for him. She was like, man, bro, you need to know about all the I take. She's like, no, stop. No, you have to understand. I was with this fucking behemoth. Stop. That was it. He wanted to tell you how to be a leader. Can't even lead his own house.
Oh my days.
Got 5'2" white women disrespecting him to his face.
One more time. She tested me. I shamed her literally to tears. You better believe it. I called her every name in the book.
Why would you want to have a relationship
Why
with
would you
someone that you
brag
do that
about
to?
this?
That's your girl.
I'm not talking to him because that's sad. I'm talking to y'all people out there, okay? If you have to resort into shaming someone, get the out the relationship. You do not want to be that person, and you don't want to be with someone that you disrespect like that. If the person disrespects you and you disrespect them, and then you think that's how you, get out of there. That's not good.
You do that because you
Stupid.
can't get better. Say it like it is. I don't have to keep nobody in line.
Say that again.
Say what?
Say that again.
Shame her. If you got value, you don't sit there having to yell and scream at her. You don't have to.
This is sad.
First off, you've already garnered enough respect that she never goes that far. But secondly, if she's acting out of pocket, you'd be like, deuces.
Out.
That's it. You think I would sit there unless a woman say some crazy stuff about my family, my mom, and then push the envelope? Oh no, you gone, and she knows.
Yeah, the thing is too is like, I can't prove this, but I wonder if he's making the story up to try to give an example of like, this is a time I was really alpha. And he's like, well, what's like a thing I can alpha? I could tell my girl to stop talking about other dudes she's fucked. But realistically, who's done that? Like, I've been with like a lot of different types of women, and I don't think I've ever been with a woman that would be like openly like that, because it's just so autistic. That would be like joking about a woman's weight, like right after you meet her, like, hey, what's up? You're a little fat. Like, who does that? Like, it's so stupid.
Which is why they never do that around me. Again, I'm also very respectful and kind. This is a mutual thing. It's not a one-way street, all right? I know how to act around ladies, but they also know how to act around me in that regards, because why? There's mutual respect there. You don't have that because she don't really see you as that much of a man. That's the only way you can tell me that she's talking to you this crazy.
That's if this story is even true. But
Yeah.
whatever.
I mean, why would you make up a story where your girl's telling you all kinds of...
Oh, just to prove it.
Hey, maybe you're right, because you've been lying about everything
He's been
else.
lying about a bunch of shit.
True.
And just to say that, his point right here is just to show people that I got the hold my girl.
Yeah.
I'm on top of that. So he could be lying,
Yeah.
because in his head, it makes him look a certain way,
Yep.
but it doesn't.
Yeah.
So it might be a lie. That shit might never happen.
Question number 4. Question number 4 to all you loser fans of Destiny. Is this really the guy you look to as something to aspire to? Would you want your life to look more like his or more like mine?
I don't know how could you be so confident to make that comparison, right? Not only am I winning on like every shallow metric, but like I feel like I come across as having a reasonable amount of fun all the time. I get to play video games all the time, play Factorio, travel the world, get to scream and shout at crazy people all over the internet. I feel like I have a pretty fun life. Now, that's not to say I have the perfect life, and that's not to say that there aren't people that have better lives than me, but bro, do you think you up here in like Mount Red Pill with like 20 pictures of yourself back on the wall with, I don't know, dude. That's just a really funny, well, I don't know why you would so confidently assert that.
Let's do a comparison. Listen, he's smarter than I am. Number 1, he's probably got more money than I do, and his wife is much younger and much hotter than my girlfriend.
This is
I'll
so weird. Why would you do a pinup? Melly Mel.
give him that. I'll concede all of that. Those are things about his life.
You know what's weird about this whole thing?
Why are you looking at people's wives, my guy?
And why you out here, like, if this is your girl, why are you constantly out here downplaying?
Yeah, he shits on his woman so much. Like, imagine I'm like arguing with like some guy, and I'm like, okay, sure. Your wife might be cooler than mine. Maybe she's into like better hobbies, and she's Croatian, not Swedish. Right? Like, why would you throw your own fucking wife under the bus that fucking hard? Why would you do that? What are you doing?
Her and her looks. Why do you constantly feel the need to be like, fuck? Imagine being in a relationship with a guy or a girl, and the girl constantly goes out on podcasts, and she's like, yeah, my man's fine, but he's not the biggest.
He's doing the B rabbit approach, but he forgot like the second half. Like,
I've ever had. I'm not much bigger. Even if it's true, like, why are you constantly going out there and reinforcing that stuff? That just shows that you don't respect each other.
Devin slept with a lot of guys. Gentlemen, Devin has a high body count. You think I don't know that my own girlfriend is that with a lot of men? You think that I think I found some special snowflake who declined partying through her 20s even though she has a great body? Give me a break, guys. I am well aware that Devin's notch count is a lot higher than she will ever admit. I am 237% certain that I am not the biggest ever that Devin's ever taken.
bro, what are you doing?
And the way I fuck her is not the best she's ever had. She's had bigger and better than me. She hasn't told me this, but I know. I'm almost positive Devin's had bigger, better than mine. But if I ever...
Do you think it's a fetish? Because he mentions it so much. I wonder if he actually gets off that. Which, by the way, is totally fine if that's what you're into. I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
found out what one of these guys looked like, if I ever found out that one of those guys had a 12-inch, you better believe I'm gonna be insecure. You kidding me? I don't have a 12-inch. Devin's had bigger than her. Now I gotta see what that looks like. Of course it makes us insecure. That's another reason why men of value don't commit to women with high body count.
Men of value don't do it because they're insecure? What the fuck?
He says men of high value don't commit to women with high body counts, and yet,
He committed to.
and yet,
It's because we know the more that have been in you, the more huge that have been in you.
Huge.
It's just mathematical. If you've been with 5 guys, okay, all right, we can deal with that. If you've been with 555, dude, you've probably...
Now I can't have burgers no more.
hey man, this man's really thought about this shit. You can tell like this is a deep insecurity. I'll be honest with you, I don't worry about stuff like that. One, because I'm packing, but two, mostly because like when I'm with a girl, I ain't worried about what the last dude did. I'm not worried about the guy before. Like, who cares? When she going with me, we gonna do our own thing together. That's it. I don't need to know the whole history. The only reason you deeply think about this is because you got a big insecurity on the inside and you don't got the skills to actually lay it down. Because if you do a good job, a girl gonna be satisfied. If a girl gives you her heart, she loves you, and you take care of her needs, you don't gotta be worried about the previous man. The only reason you deal with this is because you ain't got it like that. And so it's always a deep insecurity inside of you.
Your affiant learned from the Plant City Police Department that on September 8, 2003, Edwin Hopkins Jr. had used his father's...
I think they f***ed me on this video. I don't think Donovan will debate me. How could you show your face, like in a conversation, when he's talked so much shit about me? Melina's not sexually attracted to him.
I think they have love for each other, but I think the love that they have for each other is like brother-sister. Did you see that? Did you see that? This is why Destiny is a good debater. Listen.
He gay?
Listen to this. Listen to this. What Destiny is doing,
input.
he's talking about women and their switch hitting tendencies. Right? And guys, we don't think of it the same way. Devin's fooled around with women before.
He did. Okay, so he is gonna go there. We don't think it's not the same. It's not the same.
If she is, then she is a gross, gross outlier. A gross outlier.
If you
I'll give you a story.
If you actually want some insight here, and this has been interesting in terms of the women that I've talked to. He's a switch hitter. He's a like. How could you honestly show your face in a conversation? I feel like it would be humiliating.
Social security number to rent an apartment in Pinellas County, Florida. Your affiant went to the apartment complex and obtained a copy of Edwin Hopkins Jr.'s rental application, which includes Edwin Hopkins Jr.'s signature and Edwin Hopkins Sr.'s social security number. Your affiant learned that Edwin Hopkins Jr. had defaulted on his rental payments in the amount of $8,000.08. On June 16, 2004, your affiant spoke with Edwin Hopkins Sr., who advised that the outstanding balance showed up on his credit report. Edwin Hopkins Sr. does wish to prosecute his son for the crime of identity theft. Your affiant learned that Edwin Hopkins Jr. obtained a Florida identification card listing the above-mentioned apartment as his current address. Your affiant has been unable to locate Edwin Hopkins Jr.
My dad, the spineless beta male he is, does not have the heart to step to his own son and say, "Hey, look, son, I disagree with you."
This man defrauded his own father. He used his social insurance and his stuff to get an apartment, defaulted on the apartment. The debt went to the dad, and it went on his social bureau. The dad was charges, and they went after him in court. He's also faked bank checks. He's done a bunch of other different forms of fraud. And so what you recognize,
That's what he does.
there's a history.
Yeah.
So people say, he could never fraud. It's like, well, his criminal record says otherwise. You know what I'm saying?
That's what he does.
That's a history. But again, a lot of these dudes in the manosphere, they lie about their accomplishments, they lie about their resume, and it makes sense because you're trying to make money. Embellishing a lot of these things is how you're able to garner the audience because you're like, I live this life. Therefore, you want to follow me. But once you peer behind the curtain, you recognize that these are just scammers. That's all it, be it Derek Jackson or this loser, you recognize it's two sides of the same coin. They got an audience they want to cater to, and they got a product they got to sell, so they have a life they have to project in order to get that money. That's what this is. It's all game. So you guys got to peep it to see it and understand all these people that are public.
The exposed life pools are in grave danger. A powerful primalist is attempting to burn all the nesting areas. You must clear them to get to her. I will keep watch from above while I confront the dragon who is leading this assault. Quickly, take the eggs! Save as many as you can! You have secured the first pool. Now see to the others.
The elements answer to me!
Five. The elements answer to me!
Keep clearing them out. Do not let the primalists desecrate this hallowed space. almost to the master of these minions. Hurry onwards, champion. The last pool is safe. She is exposed. Attack that primalist before she can summon reinforcements.
Marked by lightning!
Not to play with fire! The sacrifice of my allies and burn through you myself! Erupt with their power!
The elements!
You cannot escape the heat! Crispy! Then to the flame! Nothing but ashes! And to the flame! You were warned not to play with fire!
public personalities online, don't buy into any of the personas.
If I expect you guys
Hey,
to
what up,
take what
Pauli?
I say
What up,
seriously
Lucas?
about how to run your relationships, how to train your woman, how to vet women, you guys have to know that I practice what I preach. You guys have to know that I actually do the things and I live the life that I tell you that I'm living. I can't expect you guys to pay $800 for a womanese course if you don't see that I know what I'm talking about.
Jesus. Ooh, boom, shakalaka. Yikes.
This has to be disastrous. This isn't a small amount of money.
I've heard interesting things about Rumble. Do you know anything about their business model?
I know a lot about it. Yeah, actually, we're working directly with them right now.
They're trying to be a competitor to, I think, Amazon.
It's interesting that the demographic of Twitch is changing, but not actually growing.
Is it not at all?
No, actually, Twitch in November 2022, just pretty recently, the Twitch executive that told me this, okay, it was like pretty high level, said like that was the worst decision we have ever made as a company.
To be fair to Rogan, I think Rogan has chilled out quite a bit.
Why?
Start with me. I don't even know what I said. I don't even know what you just said.
What's your take on the whole Twitter stuff at this point?
What about it? Like my account or Elon Musk? Or?
No. Yeah, like Elon Musk, the whole direction, everything else like that. How are you feeling these days?
I don't know. It all just seemed like really disastrous. It might recover just because it's already like positioned so well and it's kind of irreplaceable in certain things. And if Elon Musk can shut the fuck up, it could be okay. But like, it could have been so much better. But he's actually just like such a partisan hack, like bad business guy. At least when it comes to tech stuff. Would you consider Tesla tech? Pure software? It just seems like, yeah, he's just clueless. Like if he would have just come back to Twitter, like shut the up, like unbanned a bunch of people, and then try to launch some new features, I think it would have been a pretty successful takeover. But now he's like, done so much weird shit. Go ahead.
I feel like he's really, with some of the people he's unbanned and like some of the moves he's made, I feel like his plan has to be, we're no longer going to be an advertiser focused business, because I can't imagine a lot of advertisers. You know, the funny part is too, you'll see him saying things like, I just want to thank all the advertisers for returning to Twitter. And then I go and I browse on my app, because the Twitter app, because it's the only place I still get ads from Twitter, because ad block, obviously. And the only ads I see are the most fucking like it's conspiracy shit. I think I have a photo of it somewhere.
On Twitter now?
Yeah, on Twitter. Like it wasn't like I was getting so it was promoted accounts were the ads I was getting, right? And the tweets that were being promoted were like skeptic shit, right? Like vaccines aren't good and stuff. But that was all I was getting. Those are the only ads. There was no Johnson & Johnson. There's no cereals being advertised to me, or anything remotely, no HBO ads or anything. I think, and again, I have no idea because it's not a public company anymore. Like I genuinely feel like I don't think there's any advertisers left on Twitter.
I feel like they'll come back, but
this has to be disastrous. This isn't a small amount of money. And granted, Elon can float it probably indefinitely, but it's not a good look.
Well, I don't think he can float it indefinitely at all. I don't know what you mean by that. It's insanely expensive, the interest he's paying on those loans.
I mean, he's worth like 100 billion, 200 billion?
Well, after Tesla's stock crashed, I don't know what he's worth anymore. Didn't he lose like $100 billion of net worth in 2 weeks?
Yeah. I mean, so still though, I'm saying
he can't afford to f around with Twitter for a long time. I don't think he can afford that.
What are the payments that he has for Twitter?
I'm trying to remember. They were absurdly high.
Someone said advertisers.
Yeah.
I've done 2 videos about this, so I've got quite a bit of data on this.
People are saying it's about $1 billion in interest per year.
So it depends on interest rates, right? Because interest rates are going up a lot. So half of the debt, I have to pull the data, but half of the debt is owed to banks, and half of the debt is owed to VCs, which matters less because he can negotiate with them. But the banks, it's much harder.
Is the bank debt, is that going to vary?
It's going to vary based on interest rates since they're variable loans. Yep.
Is that normal? Do people really take variable loans on that high of a dollar amount? Or
yeah, sure.
Well, this might. So when you do a line of credit, that's going to be based on something like, the Wall Street Journal, or sorry, the like the prime rate, right? That'll be based on that, which could float from month to month. But I think when you take a static amount, like he borrowed whatever 20 billion or something like that, I'm pretty sure that's usually set at a amortization schedule. So he's gonna have like 5 years at 6% or something.
That would have been my assumption, yeah.
So 20 billion is in debt, total 6 in cash, 5 billion revenue, 13 billion is from the banks, 5.2 is from private equity, mostly funded by Larry Ellison, and then Elon himself is in for 26 billion, which equates for the original 9.6% of the company. So the 13 billion to banks is what you have to worry about, because that's going to be the stuff that he's got to pay a lot of interest on. I doubt that like the private equity is going to ask for that much. Especially on such a low amount, 5.2, right, relative to.
I wonder, he could actually just not care. I know it sounds kind of silly, but like $1 billion a year to Elon, I feel like maybe it just doesn't matter.
I don't think it's the $1 billion. It's not like he has it in his account. The problem is that he has to start like liquidating shares of like other companies. And
I know that. Right?
No, hold on, stop. I don't just mean like, oh, he's kind of like. I mean like, I think it impacts those companies, doesn't it? Like when Elon starts selling off like massive amounts of Tesla to cover his positions on Twitter. I don't know if it's enough to change his leadership structure, but I think it can influence the Tesla stock. And there's a bunch of like bad knock-on effects too, right? Like technically, Elon Musk is not really worth. Or he could never get $180 billion, because if he were to try to sell all of his stock of something, that would be like a fucking fire sale. That shit would tank so hard, right? So yeah, I don't know how much him dumping those assets influences the price of those assets at the same time, if that's like a thing that he has to consider or not.
So here's the part where I say I'm actually really positive on Twitter.
Mm-hmm.
It's one of the reasons I showed up, because I think that one of the things we have to remember is that the burn rate for Twitter is literally like dropping every single day. So Elon is basically committed to running that company on 200 people. And there was all this doom and gloom of people who are like, Twitter's going to have, we haven't seen a single outage. And literally Elon let go, I think, 2,000 people or more. So like half the company is gone. The site's running fine. And I think that his goal is to get the OpEx of the company down to a manageable rate. And a lot of other tech companies now have taken that and said, well, oh shit, like we can do that too. I think he sort of set an example that kind of caused a lot of layoffs in the tech industry.
I feel like the tech stocks have been sliding for like, I think over a year now, pretty fucking hardcore, right? Because I know that a bunch of people have done layoffs now, but was that really led by Twitter, or was that
what I'm saying is that Elon is proving a use case for the fact that like a lot of these firms are way overstaffed, and Twitter didn't need 4,500 to 5,000 people running the company.
Maybe, yeah, I guess I just don't know what all their jobs were.
I'll be back in 5 minutes.
Loser.
Sorry.
Love you. Because it's probably harder to make an argument that the company is overstaffed, like Amazon or Facebook, whatever, when you're like growing, like 20 to 50% year over year. But when the markets start to slide a lot, then I think you take a second look at your labor, and now you're getting a lot more critical of what exactly do you do here,
Yeah, I guess that's kind of where these companies had to end up due to the recession, but there was years and years of that going on at almost every major company in the Valley. That whether it be Meta, whether it be Google, Amazon,
UFC superstar Conor McGregor has been offered a chance to coach on the latest series of the UFC's The Ultimate Fighter.
Really good times in the economy, you can just what's the phrase for a company that's like earnings per employee, I guess? Basically, like you've got a SaaS product or a software company, and the multiples on the revenue that is generated from like ad products and all that shit is so much that you can just employ so many people because your actual operating expenses are so low.
Yeah. Like if you are a company like Steam and you wanted to hire like a bunch of people or whatever, like you're making so much money. At the end of the day, it's not making a big dent. But once your margins start to get a little bit closer and the markets are getting a little bit bearish, then maybe you change your philosophy on hiring or something, right?
Yeah, and I also want to talk about the ad situation on Twitter. It's something I'm really close to. So a lot of people have said that a lot of ads got pulled, and initially that was because so in the ad world and this is relevant for people that are like on Twitch or on YouTube or wherever too. There's basically like 4 major ad agencies that basically are all in New York, and they kind of control what most people with ads do, like in terms of media buy. And one of the big ones is called IPG Media Brand. Basically said, okay, we're suspending every ad on Twitter, like as Elon is acquiring the company. And then a lot of agencies, including us, followed that and paused our ads on Twitter and kind of just trying to see what's going to happen, because the advertisers are like markets. We don't like uncertainty. So.
Yeah, that's kind of what I figured initially. A lot got pulled, but I feel like Twitter is pretty indispensable, and as long as Elon can shut the fuck up and chill on his shit, I think most of the advertisers will come back because the user base is still there, right? And
exactly.
Yeah, there's no way you don't have a user base of 300, 400 million users. You don't have that many people there with nobody advertising. Somebody's gonna want to get their toes in that audience, and if nobody's buying ads, then those are ads at a sale. That's a premium fucking buy right there, right?
And so, that's what happened. Is that so? Since in the last 2 months, spend on Twitter has gone up 17% against Google, and Facebook spending has gone down 8%. Google's gone down 3.4%, and we think that's because of that reason. Is the engagement on Twitter is an all-time high, and also like Dan was saying, he's seen a lot of dog shit ads, but those are ads that previously didn't have a category, like they didn't have a carousel on Twitter before. So like you might see like a lot of mobile game ads, those are just being bought at lower CPMs, but there's more of them. So this is another strategy that Twitch is doing now, is that when Twitch released revenue share, you know how they changed it from flat rate to revenue share for streamers? They did that so that they can sell.
Okay. I'm not going to wait around too long. I'm just going to go ahead and get it going. Give me that Representative Master weapon. Let me see that pole arm real quick. Let's go, dude!
No way!
The Chosen... Oh, it was close, too. It was close. I had 2 trinkets and then the weapon.
Wow.
Let's go, baby. I knew it. I knew it. I knew it. Okay. I'm not going to wait around too long. I'm just going to go ahead and...
Hey folks, this is Kalani. The very first build for patch 10.0.7 is now on the public test realms, so we get our first look at what this patch is going to include. So far we have some big class changes, including up to 35% damage increases for some classes and specs. There is a big spec rework coming for your favorite Holy Crusaders. There's some new gems that look suspiciously like Shards of Domination. We have a new scenario style vault to explore, new dragon riding abilities to learn, and much more. And then there are also some class changes coming for live servers, so we won't have to wait quite as long for those. There's a lot to go over, so let's break it all down and see how patch 10.0.7 looks so far. Now before we jump in, be sure to hit up that like button and subscribe so you never miss another video. Let's kick things off with the brand new class changes coming our way. All of these are tied to the new patch 10.0.7 PTR, and oh boy are there some massive changes for certain classes, and we even have a complete class rework or overhaul. To start with, Death Knights will see quite a few changes to their Unholy spec. Some talents have moved around, some talents have been buffed, some extra functionality was thrown into a few, and then Commander of the Dead will now be an aura around the Death Knight. I guess the current iteration isn't all too reliable from what the dev note says here. That's all for now, but they did also note that Unholy specifically will see more quality of life changes later on in 10.0.7. For Druids, there is a quick buff to Protector of the Pack, up to 400% for non-resto specs and 300% for resto, up from 240% for everyone, so you should be able to save up a lot more healing in that talent, but we'll have to wait and see if it's enough. Resto Druid will see quite a few changes by the looks of things. There are a few new talents, a lot of talents are getting some additional functionality to improve their effectiveness, and quite a lot of talents are being shifted around, so they're going to be in different places when this patch goes live. This actually includes some talents being combined together in a choice talent, which is an interesting change. Moving on, Evokers have some odd changes. There are some changes to how Chosen Identity works, so you res in your Visage form. There's a new Dragon Riding ability that works just like Aerial Halt. This will make more sense later on, but you can reduce your velocity while in the air. There are some small buffs to talents. Some talents have been redesigned, and then Roar of Exhilaration has actually been removed. Verdant Embrace healing was also buffed for Devastation Evokers specifically. Monks only have one change so far, and it's for Mistweaver. Thunder Focus T now causes Enveloping Mist to become instant cast in addition to its current effect. Paladins don't have too much going on in this list, a few buffs and changes to protection, and a note on Retribution that a big rework is underway, and we'll see more changes in future PTR builds. So not too much right this very second, but you do have a lot of things to look forward to if you are a Ret Paladin. Hopefully the changes are all good, and they address some of the concerns that you have. Priests only have one quick change for Discipline, and it's a bug fix for Expiation, dealing too much damage, so not the kind of bug fix you really look forward to hearing about. This one's actually going to be a nerf. And then we come to the Shamans. This is where things really start ramping up for this build specifically. We have a lot of general changes, like changing how Earth Elemental works with aggro. Astral Shift is getting buffed, as well as talents relating to that ability. There are damage increases, talent changes, talents have been removed, talents are moving position in the class tree, so it's kind of like a mini rework is happening for the Shaman class tree here. And then Restoration has a lot of specific changes too. Lightning Bolt and Chain Lightning damage was increased by 35%.
It wasn't so long ago that we were hating our lives in Torghast, farming renown, and refreshing LFG for hours. We were begging for a rated environment that we could climb as individuals, without wondering if it's been our teammates holding us back all along. Enter Dragonflight. We have Solo Shuffle. WoW Arena, something that has always felt so inaccessible and elite, is now open to anyone. No longer are you gatekept by how star-studded your achievement log is with the achievements of past seasons. Everyone is ready to reach their true potential now, and many of us felt that we were secretly gladiators, setting high expectations among ourselves at the start of the season. And many of us have felt disappointment during the climb that has ensued. When the goals we set are unmet, the game becomes frustrating, and the sense of fun drifts away. Me personally, I've never played WoW more than I have this expansion. For the first 2 months, I've absolutely loved it. But then, just last week, my enjoyment of Solo Shuffle took a dark turn. But before we can talk about that dark turn, I have to give some context. I still remember the moment the servers went live after the Season 1 patch. I was staring at the gray names of the realms, and then suddenly, they were open. I instantly logged in, and the first thing I did was queue for Solo Shuffle. The experience that would follow in my first weeks of Solo Shuffle was one of getting my ass completely whooped. But I didn't care. I was in pure stimulation-induced bliss. It felt like such a privilege to be able to participate in ranked arena at any time. I didn't care what my rating was. I just loved a good heated match, which was basically all of them. And as a healer, it was instant gratification, never needing to wait for a queue pop. Although skirms had been nice for getting some of the basics, the 6-round format of Solo Shuffle was like a supercharger for learning the game. Then, after thousands of rounds in Solo Shuffle, absorbing as much educational content as YouTube and Skillcapped had to offer, alongside being reinforced by hitting Duelist twice, I felt like my fundamentals were finally becoming developed. So as an ambitious and extremely competitive person, I decided it's time to up the ante, because I knew that I was capable of more. Enters my goal, and more importantly an expectation, that I will reach 2400 in Solo Shuffle. Suddenly, instead of queuing to experience the gameplay I've so desperately desired for all these years, now I'm queuing to win, because I've set an expectation for where I belong as a player. Additionally, I'm reaching for this goal to prove to others and myself that I'm worthy, and that I'm capable, making losing frustrating and upsetting rather than an opportunity to learn and grow. Lots of aspects of this game are out of our control, from how our teammates choose to use their cooldowns, to even how the class we play is tuned and changed by Blizz. With my class Holy Paladin receiving a massive nerf to one of my main burst heals, the push for my goal has become even harder. And the lower my rating goes in comparison to 2400, the worse I began to feel about myself and those around me. In regards to teammates, it's led to blaming and getting angry at them when they don't hit that obvious button that could have saved the day, increasing my sense of frustration and anger towards my fellow WoW Arena enjoyers, which is really quite funny to me, because in my normal day-to-day life, there's so little people that could relate to what I do for fun. Yet here I am surrounded by like-minded people, and I'm getting pissed off at them for sabotaging my self-worth. And as a result, I'm isolating myself from the very community I choose to spend all my free time in. The farther I stray from the rating I've decided myself to deserve, the more tunnel vision I become on the negative. From how dog water I am for fat fingering an ability, a simple human mistake, to how angry I am at my warrior because their positioning is constantly making me exposed for CC. Furthermore, it makes those lower MMR 5-1s feel like nothing because obviously I'm way better than these people, and the 3-3s feel terrible because I can't believe I could possibly go even at a rating so far below where I've once been. This is a terrible cycle I've began. The longer I stay in it, the further my focus shifts from the joy of the incredibly fast-paced, stimulating gameplay experience to just a simple number that I've inscribed with my own personal worth as a human. And when that number isn't how I like it, I just hyper-focus on all the negative things that are bringing me further and further from my ideal rating. Up until I set this expectation to hit 2400, queuing for Solo Shuffle and Dragonflight has made me feel like my much younger self when I first discovered PvP and MMOs. That level of satisfaction I got from getting things like killing blows and topping the damage charts and random BGs. The act of playing the game was just exciting and fun, without the need for an external motive. Well, let me just say, I've ruined games for myself in the past by forcing myself to play them in a certain way just to achieve some external goal. And let me tell you how that worked out. I don't play those games anymore. With how much fun I've had in Solo Shuffle this season, I'm not going to let myself do that with Dragonflight as well. So that's why I'm making this video. To douse myself early with a bucket of water before I burn out, and hopefully share some perspective with anyone else out there who is so excited for Solo Shuffle and now is just not feeling the joy anymore. So, this is how I personally am going to fix the problem. Now I know you might be thinking that I'm about to denounce my goal of reaching 2400, but let me tell you, hell no. I am absolutely keeping that goal. I think goals are great for giving a sense of direction with the things I'm doing, and for me, always having something bigger to strive for is so important for staying driven. What I am denouncing though, and this is really the key to having fun again, is the expectation that I need to get 2400 to feel okay with myself. Fuck that. That expectation has brought me no positive results and has caused me to lose sight of the things I've enjoyed so much about this season. Granted, you more experienced players who've been queuing Arena for years are probably going to have a lot harder of a time putting your expectations to the side. Yours have been built up by potentially a decade of ranked Arena, and maybe you feel like you know exactly where you should be placed in the bracket. So when you're below that, it probably hurts twice as bad. Obviously, I'm not in your situation, so there's only so much insight I can offer, but when I look at it, there's simply too many variables to truly discount or upsell yourself because of a number. The metas are constantly changing, and sometimes you just get unlucky with the lobbies or the tuning Blizzard has in place. The best thing anyone can do for Solo Shuffle is just remember how we got here, to have a place to queue for fun and to improve as individuals without all the bullshit complications of LFG. Don't get me wrong, I certainly think LFG still has its place. It's just nice it's not the only option anymore. During my first 2 months of the expansion, I had more fun than I've ever had playing World of Warcraft in the past 15 years. And because it was my first time really trying to be competitive in Arena, I went into it open-minded with no expectations for myself. This allowed me to just focus on the gameplay and learn from those better than me without ego or bias. Although I didn't have a target rating in mind, I still managed to improve from 1200 in my first week of shuffles to Duelist after about a month and a half of queuing. I attribute my rating climb to a simple system for long-term growth and improvement. You can visualize it as 3 circles. The innermost is my identity, which has been, I'm a dedicated Arena player that is committed to maintaining his body and mind for its best performance possible. The next circle is the processes that would correlate with that identity. So for me, it was maintaining a set sleep schedule to guarantee 8 hours, being 100% sober, and of course, playing as much Solo Shuffle as possible alongside devouring content from better players. And finally, the outcome that this led to was reaching Duelist as a brand new healer, learning Arena from the ground up. If I were to have just maintained that mentality, I'm certain that with the growth I've already experienced, and with enough time, I'll reach my goal of 2400. The reason Solo Shuffle stopped being fun is because I changed that innermost circle from being a strong value that I can build powerful systems of improvement from to an arbitrary rating that on its own simply has no value. So in short, if you set a sustainable core value or identity and consistently practice the processes that reinforce that core value system, the outcomes or goals will surely follow with enough time and patience. To summarize this whole video, I think Solo Shuffle is dope, and it's opened a lot of accessibility for those of us wanting to get into Arena. I think having goals to climb rating is great, but I think setting those goals as a part of your identity or setting the expectation that you need to reach those goals is bad, because it takes away from the fun of the gameplay, which ultimately is what brought us here in the first place. And finally, next time you go to flame your teammate, just remember, we're all in this together as Arena players. Maybe next time your mage dies without using Ice Block, try to have some sympathy because we all make mistakes. And, in this meta, we definitely all get globaled. There's been too many times that I've been killed in 2 globals after getting swapped to before even getting a chance to use Divine Shield. And I do get it, it's really frustrating having your game thrown by someone else's mistakes, but it is a team game. And if it helps you give them the benefit of the doubt next time, consider how if it wasn't for all of us, we wouldn't have anyone to queue into in the first place. So, that wraps it up. Please let me know in the comments if you've been enjoying Solo Shuffle this season, and how it's been affecting your mentality, or how you've been positioning your mentality to thrive. Also, if you could please like and subscribe, that helps me out a ton by pushing this video to more viewers. I stream my gameplay live on twitch.tv/TROHHH, because TROH is always taken by an inactive account. Thank you so stinking much for being here. I really appreciate it. Okay. Yo.
I just went 0-6.
Yo, huge, actually.
Dude, those people were terrible. Put a pressure on him. I interrupt. Fuck, I missed, man.
All good.
We have Hodge on healer. Hodge on healer. They're getting cap. Oh my god, how is he not dead?
Unlucky, dude.
This is insane, man. I just went fucking 0-6. Like, I'm not a fucking bad. Like,
Dude,
I don't understand.
The elements answer to me! answer to me!
You there, in the rafters! My sacred library has become possessed by the Shah! See how they pour from every letter of these sacred scrolls, corrupting them, defiling them.
Marked by lightning!
I beseech you, kind strangers, cleanse this place of their foul presence. Lay our stories to rest. You must destroy the source of the corruption. Quickly, before our cherished history is erased forever. Ah, it is not yet over. From what I see, we face the trial of the young gold. Let me shed some light. As the tale goes, the young gold was traveling across the Kunlai plains when suddenly he was ambushed by two strangers. For the ancients! The young gold attacked the beast with great determination and fury.
The elements answer to me!
However, when he let it alone, the beast shrank to near nothingness. you see, strife feeds on conflict. When you have peace in your heart, strife will find somewhere else to roam. You have my thanks, heroes. You have given peace to this sacred temple. Now, off with you. I require meditation before I begin the restoration ritual.
The elements answer to me!
Five, four,
The elements answer to me! The elements answer to me!
five,
Your forces are weak. The heart of the great serpent will not fall into your hands.
The elements answer to me!
Jade serpent, grant me strength!
five,
great serpent must be reborn.
Marked by lightning.
Has been lifted from my eyes.
The elements answer to me! Marked by lightning.
Yeah.
So sick.
I'm so sick and tired.
Sick of niggas dying.
Yeah, I'm so sick and tired.
So sick and tired.
Sick of niggas dying. Yeah. If I name drop, they get more lit. Some niggas ain't big as I am. And I feel like I'm blessed with a big excitement. And I work through the pain, I ain't into crying. They said it was hard, they ain't even lying. How you want it, you ain't even trying. They got me hurt, so I gotta drill. I gotta chill, cause I gotta deal. Who can I call when it's getting real? I thought I was rich when I got a meal. I want you to overstand. I gotta help you out, I can't hold your hand. Go brainstorm and make a little plan. Don't worry about me, nigga, you a man. I'm on the gram talking to my fans. Play my song, I'm hoping that they dance. Somebody got shot, I'm hoping that's his man. I'm trying to survive and focus on these bands. Yeah. Nigga, shout out my daughter. I do more for them. Yeah. Than anybody in this world could offer them. And I'm watching how they giving them lies. You don't know how I be feeling inside. On the real, that shit kill me inside. Try to forget, but it's sit in my mind. I got some killers that's willing to die. If you look, you see the drill in their eyes. They don't give it, then I'm still in the prize. I'm at the top, but I'm still on the rise. I gotta work, I ain't chilling inside. I hope my haters is feeling the vibe. I'd never let them shit on the guys. I'ma do what I can 1,000,000 times. I'd never let them shit on the guys. Yeah, I'ma do what I can. Yeah, I'm so sick and tired. I'm sick of niggas dying. If I name drop, they get more lit. Cause them niggas ain't big as I am. And I feel like I'm blessed with a big assignment. And I work through the pain, I ain't into crying. They said it was hard, they ain't even lying. How you want it, you ain't even trying. Look, somebody come, somebody gotta leave. I don't even know that's how I gotta be. Watch what you say when you wanna be. They take a lyrics tied to the beat. And I ain't never crying when it's heat. I ain't never tired of the streets. I cut him off prior to the speech. And I ain't even know why he was a leech. I don't pay no attention to the media. Cause they gon' act way different when I'm meeting her. And she gon' act way different when I'm seeing her. Yeah, I tell her pull up, but she come with like 3 of them. Yeah, and I'm only trying to maintain. I'm with the niggas that gangbang. Yeah, and I'm still new to this fame thing. I need a Richard Millie plain Jane. I came a long way from that A train. I don't switch sides, I don't lane change. The police just want us to name names, but we don't never play the blame game. I'm so sick and tired. I'm sick of niggas dying. If I name drop, they get more lit. Some niggas ain't big as I am. And I feel like I'm blessed with a big assignment. And I work through the pain, I ain't into crying. They said it was hard, they ain't even lying. How you want it, you ain't even trying.
Five.
Down.
Let's go. Hey, we go suave.
We go 5A.
Off the Coronas.
Down. Down.
Hey, Mellow Mommy in Delhi.
Hey.
Hold on.
Nah, where the break back?
She was horny. Ready.
Hey.
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 She like, why you so sexy? Hey.
Hey. Hey.
Hold on. Hey. I Mellow Mama in the deli. Hey. She was a wetty. Hey. She was horny. Ready. I was on it. Heavy. Hey. She like, why you so sexy? She fell in love when she met me. Tell your ex to come check me. All the shit get messy. I Mellow Mama in the deli. She was a wetty. She was horny. Ready. I was on it. Heavy. She like, why you so sexy? Fell in love when she met me. Tell your ex to come check me. All the shit get messy. Bagged you. I felt like I had to. Take how you put your words together so perfect, bitch. I'm playing Scrabble. I be just playing with them bitches. I dip and I dabble. They don't got beef with you, girl. They just in the reason to tag you. I'm from the bottom like gravel. Rap beef, I don't battle. Fabi, it's natural. Hey, brand new drip. I need a brand new bitch. 350. E-class, Jerry got a brand new whip. I got the flexing on him, no inbox, sending messages to him. Ayy, when I step up on him, got a shooter with me, he better do him like that. I put the weapon to him, he be running fast and he better sue him like that. But you can never get away. They know I'm heavy on the straights. I'm probably moving with the trace, getting boom you in the way. I put the shooters in your face. Ayy, Fabi, I'm lace. I'm all over the place. Tito, car, speed. Race. I Mellow Mama in the deli. Ay, she was a wetty. Ay, she was horny. Ready. I was on it. Heavy. Ay. She like, why you so sexy? She fell in love when she met me. Tell your ex to come check me. All the shit get messy. I Mellow Mama in the deli. Ay, she was a wetty. She was horny. Ready. I was on it. Heavy. She like, why you so sexy? Ay, fell in love when she met me. Tell your ex to come check me. All the shit get messy. She love me on the low. She keep on loving on my post. She say me and her phone is cash boy, cause I'm always gon' ghost.
This is what you doing? I thought it was lost.
I love the money the most. Got the curry, I'ma go. Hold on, wait, dope stepper. Tito and Sosa, the salt and pepper. That's black and white cause it go together. I'm getting dressed, I ain't know the weather. Hold on, wait, with a Henny in my system, make it go ever. The ops hear me, they know I'm better. Hey, with me, man. I knew she'd love me to death. Look at the way that I step. All this drip when I dress. Hey, flex. Fest, Fabi, I'm next. And I put that on the set. Hey, she need me. She told me she need me. She give me whatever I want. Shit, genie. Ayy, gotta pay for a feature, no freebies. They like I like how you move. Favi, teach me. Ayy, I met little mama in the deli. She was a wedding. She was horny, ready. I was on it, heavy. Ayy, she like why you so sexy. She fell in love when she met me. Tell your ex to come check me. All the shit it get messy. I met little mama in the deli. She was ready. She was on it, ready. I was on it, heavy. She like why you so sexy. Ayy, fell in love when she met me. Tell your ex to come check me. All the shit it get messy.
I'm about to take you away from all this shit. Shit dumb. I'm 5, like. Feel me? Like, I'm gonna take you from drip to big drip. Yeah, you still running the store. We ain't doing none of that no more. We going viral now. You ever been to the moon?
No.
I'm gonna take you to the moon. Yeah, I got something for you. Take this. Yeah, take that. Go viral. Make a movie.
Bobby, I love you.
Love me.
Why you so sexy?
I don't know, baby. Okay.
This week's show. This is the tune of the week.
Hey, this is Avira, and you're listening to a brand new remix for me on A State of Trance.
Voted the hottest track of last week's episode, and it's finally out this week. Big shout out to Avira from Canada for his massive remix of the classic from Gaia's Tuvon. You seem to like it as well. Many people voted for it as future favorite. Thank you for all your votes. Before that, two brand new releases on A State of Trance. Colony with Distant Dreams. And the Chinese-Spanish tune of the week, Lumen and Yoshi and Rasner, Out of the Cage. You're listening to episode 1103. I'm Van Buren here with Ruben Durant in the studio, pleasing your eardrums. And I have some exciting news to share with you. I received a lot of messages from people over the last couple of weeks questioning where is the lineup for Utrecht. And I can imagine that a lot of people are eagerly anticipating the lineup. I'm not going to announce the lineup yet, but next week we'll be sharing the full lineup with a special State of Trance broadcast live from a very cool location, Our House in Amsterdam. Isn't that the former IT nightclub?
I'm not sure, but if it is so, then it's a legendary place. Yeah.
We have a couple of big surprises planned for you. If you're part of the AAA Web3 community, you can be part of this epic night. More info on arminvanburen.com/AAA. It's going to be a mini rave.
Event. Yeah, can't wait.
All broadcasted live, of course, for you. Mark it in your schedule. Big and extended episode next week, January 19th, right here on the State of Trance. And then we'll announce the lineup and many more exciting stuff about Reflection and what we're going to do on the 3rd and 4th of March in the Jaarbeurshallen in Utrecht. Back to the music, lifting the tempo. The original version of this was one of the tracks released in 2008. 15 years later, we see this massive rework of Lemon and Einor K, Anticipation. Turn it up for the Reorder remix.
Okay, so very recently, Piers Morgan interviewed Andrew Tate's new lawyer, and there was a lot of new information about it, and I find it interesting, and I thought you might want to see this, because this is very, very interesting and very informative for people who spread lies about Andrew Tate or don't know the full situation about him, because there's a lot of things going around. There's a lot of truth, there's a lot of lies, and the lies outweigh truths by so much more. It's disgusting. But yeah, quickly before we get into it, please be sure to leave a like on the video, subscribe with notifications, and yeah, let's get into it.
Plus, joining me now is the lawyer for the Tate brothers, Tina Glandian, who is in Romania. Well, welcome to you, Ms. Glandian. I really appreciate you joining me. Where are we with this case? It seems that every now and again this pops up back on television with them being remanded for further time. How long can that process continue before a charging decision is made?
Under Romanian law, they have up to 180 days, which is in 30-day increments. So every time there's a 30-day detention order, they're allowed to renew their request and have it extended for an additional 30 days, but not to exceed 180 days.
Okay, you've taken on this case. Andrew Tate has been repeatedly bellowing his innocence as he's been led in and out of these court hearings and so on. Do you believe them? Do you believe that he and his brother are innocent?
At this point, Pierce, they've had this investigation going since April. We're now February, and there are not even charges filed against them. So This is a huge injustice the way we see it. They should not be detained at this point. We think it's now crossed over to the point where it's violating international human rights law, because the deprivation of your liberty pre-trial is the most severe form of punishment a state can impose. And that's what they've done in this case. And they've had a very lengthy investigation with the government's resources. They've been analyzing and looking at all of their devices since April, when they seized everything. And here we are, February, and charges aren't filed. So I think there's absolutely no evidence that's been presented. And that's our position.
How are your clients at the moment? How is Andrew Tate dealing with incarceration? I interviewed him just before Christmas. We had a long, wide-ranging interview.
Yes.
And once again, I was struck by the phenomenal following that he has online, particularly with young men. He has an enormous following there. You and I know this has been whipped up now by that community into a huge framing of a narrative that this is complete injustice. There are others who think this has been a long time coming, that he's a bad human being and that he's going to face very serious charges, and that will be the last we see of him. But how is he faring right now, given that at the moment he's in this limbo land of no charging but being held in incarceration?
The brothers are both very strong, they're resilient, and they're holding up, but obviously the conditions are not good. They're in a Romanian jail cell, and they've been detained for a very lengthy period at this point. They have limited access to their attorneys. It's not a good condition for them.
You've obviously represented a lot of people.
And as far as...
Sorry, please finish.
I was gonna say, to your second point, they're controversial public figures, but that's not a crime. And at this point, we have not been provided any proof that they've committed any crimes, nor have they even been charged. So I would ask that people presume them innocent as they are.
Do they feel that they are being tried in the court of public opinion?
I think the public is divided, as you know. I think they have a big following, but at the end of the day, yes, I think there is a lot of information in the public. I think there's a lot of false allegations in the public. I think some evidence has now been put forth. Again, I don't want to comment too much on the facts of the case since there is an ongoing criminal investigation. However, I think there has been evidence put out, videos and other statements for the public to see what the supposed state of the evidence actually is.
It's been interesting to watch Andrew Tate's Twitter feed in particular, that he's continued to tweet. Is he doing that himself? Has he got people doing that for him? And how do you feel from a legal point of view? Is it a wise tactic to continue to do that on social media when you're being held in custody by the Romanian authorities?
Well, again, he doesn't have access, so he's not doing anything directly. And what's being put out is on his accounts, and I'm not going to speak as to, the source of the posts and what's being put out, but I think, again, as of now, he's not charged with anything, and he's free to comment publicly if he wishes to.
Yeah, we know that they seized nearly £3.5 million in cash, 11 luxury sports cars, guns and other weapons. Are any of the things that have been seized from the property, are they in themselves acts of law breaking, just the possession of any of these things?
To my knowledge, they're not. I think if they were, they would have been charged with crimes. Again, they had the initial search in April, and it's February. It's been 10 months, and no charges have been filed whatsoever. We have an ongoing criminal investigation for which this is a preventative detention, which is why they're in custody. Again, this is the most severe form of punishment. I don't think it's justified under these circumstances where the prosecution hasn't set forth enough evidence to charge them, and yet they are detained and it's being prolonged.
But you do accept, of course, that if the women who've come forward here as part of the investigation, if they're telling the truth, these are very serious allegations against your clients, which could lead to charging, and if they led to charging, could lead potentially to long prison sentences if found guilty.
Certainly the crimes at issue are very serious crimes, and I think, Pierce, actually it was on your show when you interviewed Tate several months ago. He made very strong statements about his position on rape, and he condemned rape, and he said it was disgusting, I'm pretty sure the word he used, and he said he thought that somebody who does that deserves the death penalty. So there's no question that these are serious charges, and even in his own words, they're very serious charges. There just isn't any evidence that they committed these crimes.
But you know, we've also had tapes which have emerged in the last few weeks of him talking about rape to a woman in a pretty unsavory manner. So what is your response to that?
I'm sorry, I didn't catch that. You said what surfaced?
There have been various tapes have surfaced in part of media investigations in the last few weeks, including Andrew Tate talking about rape to a woman in a pretty unsavory manner. So what would your reaction be to that?
First of all, I think the authenticity of anything that is presented through the media as opposed to turned over to the defense needs to be questioned, because material is edited and it's easily manipulated. So first, I would say that. Secondly, I don't think certain text messages, I'm not here to judge or to talk to people's desires or fetishes, but certainly somebody could easily set someone up by saying they have certain fantasies, they want certain things done to them or said to them. And so there's a lot that goes into. You can't take a text message out of context. You first have to know, first of all, the entire context of it and what the background is. There needs to be explanation. So I think you have to keep all of that in mind when you're seeing something in the media.
We do, and we have to keep in mind also the judge's reasoning for all this. They explained on the 20th of January that they viewed the particular dangerousness of the defendants and their capacity to identify victims with increased vulnerability in search of better life opportunities. So all of this has to be taken into account. But it goes on, and as you rightly say, at the moment, there have been no charges against your clients. And until or if that point arrives, we're in a world of allegation, not actual charges.
Correct. And right now, exactly, there's a presumption of innocence that every accused has, and that attaches from the time you're even charged. And here, we're not even there. They haven't even charged them with crimes. So any sort of comments as to their alleged dangerousness, there's no evidence of that. There isn't even a presumption of that. They need to be presumed innocent, and that hasn't happened in this case. There's really a lack of evidence, and they are being detained unlawfully at this point.
Tina Glandian, I appreciate you joining me. Thank you very much indeed.
Every class you learn in school, every TV program you watch, every website you find, all of them are curated to keep your mind inside of a box. Because by keeping you inside of a box, they can keep you broke. And when they keep you broke, you must adhere to society's rules and laws, even if you know they're unfair, so you have enough money to eat.
The criminal case of Andrew Tate is continuing, and there have been some major developments since his shocking arrest. We break them down. Welcome to Sidebar, presented by Law and Crime. I'm Jesse Weber. Andrew Tate. So much has happened in the last month or so with the social media star and former kickboxer that we thought, why don't we do the 7 major developments in the Andrew Tate case? Number 1, I'm sure you guessed it, his arrest. I mean, this was a shock. This came out of nowhere. In fact, it took us a minute here to actually confirm this was real. And you know what? It certainly was. We learned that Romanian authorities detained Tate, his brother Tristan, and 2 other women in late December on human trafficking and rape charges. Prosecutors allege that the defendants, quote, created an organized crime group with the purpose of recruiting, housing, and exploiting women by forcing them to create pornographic content meant to be seen on specialized websites for a cost. They've described how there are 6 people who were, quote, sexually exploited, and that, quote, injured person was forced on 2 different occasions by a suspect through the exercise of physical violence and psychological pressure to have sexual relations. So it seems that the allegations may center on a webcam business that Tate had operated. Tate allegedly had called this business a scam in the past, and it's been reported that he would entice women into his circle by getting them to fall in love with him. This is also called the lover boy method. According to Romanian authorities, the Tate brothers recruited women by, quote, misrepresenting their intention to enter into a marriage or cohabitation relationship and the existence of genuine feelings of love. Attorney Jenny Alcati, who specializes in human trafficking, explained it best.
This is how you hear
how women get groomed. So he calls it the lover boy strategy or method. This is what we call grooming in human trafficking, which is basically that the male, the trafficker, whoever it may be, pretends as though they want to be in a relationship with the woman, that they love them, that they're going to save them from the horrible reality that they're in right now. And then that is how they get them to be forced to stay with them, unfortunately. And they start gaining access into their life, learning about their family, learning about, their past. And that is what gets them to be able to manipulate these women. So it's not new. It's not uncommon. His term of lover boy is just a different terminology for grooming these women into trafficking. In my legal experience and in my opinion, especially with the experience that I have in these cases, is that I think society is very ignorant and uneducated as to what human trafficking is. It is typically that you see women who are vulnerable, who are not in the best place in their lives. And I think I read something where there were women 25 and under that were working for him. And that is very young. And those women tend to be victim blamed or victim shamed. And that's really what you see with human trafficking is the level of manipulation that traffickers have over these victims and survivors is just unbelievable. The threats that they put on them, their inability to eat or have food or water is a high level of manipulation that you see commonly with human trafficking.
Now let's get into the fact that at the time of this recording, Tate and his brother are still locked up. That's right. They're still detained in Romanian jail. Now, we know that when they were first arrested on December 29th, the court had granted the prosecutor's request to keep Tate behind bars for 30 days under Romanian law. Tate appealed that. It was denied. And then recently, a judge ordered that Tate remain locked up for another month until February 27th. Why? Why keep them detained? Well, to help better explain that, we spoke with Romanian lawyer Stefan Loredan.
That's totally right, in my opinion. And I was predicting that, actually in my YouTube videos, I was predicting that. I'm not surprised. And here's the thing. I don't know if you watched the news lately, but there were some new raids that were happening on some of the locations owned by Andrew Tate in Romania, and supposedly some of the locations of their business partners, which means that there are new witnesses in the case, there are new evidence going on, and which translates into the prosecutor needing more time for the investigation. So it's a natural thing that happened. I didn't feel like he had enough time in the first 30 days period to gather all the evidences, and that's pretty much what's happening. Because right now we are not into the trial phase, we are in the investigation phase, which can go up to, they can detain him for 180 days if they want to, right?
Is that the maximum? Is that the maximum?
Yeah, that's the maximum. They can extend 30 days up to 180 days. And in this period, all the prosecutor has to do is gather further evidence, and he has the right to do so.
What avenues does Andrew Tate have if this is extended every month, to try to appeal it to I know he appeals it. Does he have any successful grounds to be released earlier?
Since he's presenting a threat in terms of leaving the country, I don't think he's going to be left in freedom, at least in the investigation phase.
Now, I should tell you that Tate and his brother were escorted in handcuffs into Romania's Directorate for Investigating Organized Crime and Terrorism as prosecutors conducted a forensic examination of the brothers' digital devices. Now, anyone who knows us or follows us here on Law and Crime, this is a little sidebar here on Sidebar. You should know that cell phone, iPads, computers, they can be very telling in a criminal prosecution. They can provide a trail of evidence. They can help with issues of intent or a cover-up. And here, maybe show something of this purported webcam business. So reviewing those devices becomes supremely important for prosecutors. But back to them. So as they're leaving this building, they're swarmed by reporters. Listen to what they had to say.
Gentlemen, ask the police what evidence there is against me. They have nothing. Ask the police what evidence they have against me.
Yeah, the Matrix is trying to frame me, but God knows the truth. There's no evidence in my file because I've done nothing wrong. Everybody knows I'm innocent. It's okay. Everyone knows I'm innocent. There, cockroach, boxing yourself. Everybody knows I'm innocent.
And we're going to get more into their continued lockup, but there's something else that we have to talk about. Another big development. And that is what has happened to Andrew Tate outside of jail. More specifically, what has happened to his property. You see, if anybody knows a thing or two about how Andrew Tate presents himself on social media, he is very much about success and wealth.
The crazy thing about life and the crazy thing about war, it's always been the same. Getting money and getting status is absolutely and utterly important, because without those things, you're going to end up at the bottom of the ladder. Even if you're on the right team, you're going to end up at the bottom of the ladder, right? So if, let's say, a country, whatever it is, America, were to conscript right now and go to World War III, if you have no money and no real skills, you're the dude who's in the trench getting blown up. You're the fucking cannon fodder. You're the guy walking over landmines to clear them out. But if you're rich or intelligent or have unique skills, then you might be the engineering corps, or you might be an officer, or you might be something else, right? So even in the worst possible cases, even the idea of World War III and mass conscription, having money and status and skills are still going to save you from ending up being the guy in the foxhole just getting blown to fucking smithereens for no reason. You always have to be that guy. So you always have to be upgrading and improving yourself. I'm telling you now, there is not a military alive that would conscript me and allow me to go die as a GI nobody. They'd say the way he can motivate people, this motherfucker's an officer. We can't let him die. We can't let Top G die. That's bad for the morale of the army. But they'd protect me. They'd say, put Top G in the somewhere safe. I'm like, nah, I'll go out the front line. I'm like, no, sir, you're too important for the front line. And that's because of the man I built myself to be. And it's been that way since the dawn of human time. You can protect yourself against the worst possible scenarios in life that can possibly happen to you by just becoming a man of genuine competence and skill. And that's why I don't understand how these men are just waking up each day and not trying to do exactly that.
And now, Romanian authorities went to Tate's compound in Bucharest and seized assets totaling in the millions. Cash, luxury cars such as Ferraris, Porsche, Rolls-Royce, expensive watches. You might be saying, why are they doing this? He hasn't been convicted. Why are they seizing his assets? Well, here's why they're doing that.
This is a common procedure in Romania when you are dealing with crimes, when you are facing crimes that have behind the fact that you can gain monetary. You can make money from those crimes, right? Then they seize usually your assets, so they make sure that in the end, if you are found guilty, they can sell those assets and they can pay the victims, and they can pay everybody that was involved and that needs to be paid.
As we talk about the case against Andrew Tate, there's also what is happening on the other side. There are those supporting him. In fact, another major development is when we heard from someone connected to Andrew Tate, his head of security, Bogdan Stanciu. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that correctly. Mr. Stanciu spoke to the BBC, and according to him, more than 100 women have come in and out of the social media star's compound in Romania. He's quoted as saying, some of the girls misunderstood the reality and believed that they would be his next wife. When they realize the reality, it's easy to transform from a friend into an enemy and make a statement to the police. He described women that would pass through as young and stupid, and some would get too drunk and make problems, and that he also said that he never doubts Andrew. Clearly, he seems like an important defense witness, right, in an upcoming case, and kind of gives you an idea of where a potential Andrew Tate defense would go. These accusers are lying, that they can't be believed. He has said that his boss believes someone's out to get him, that this whole system is corrupt. Now, could Mr. Stanciu be telling the truth? Could this be a case of scorned women coming out, providing false information? Sure, we've seen things like that happen before. However, as we discussed earlier, could this also be victim blaming, manipulation? Maybe someone saying anything to protect his employer. Does he have an incentive to not tell the truth? Important questions to think about. And so this actually brings me now to another development, and that is that two women who claim to be on Romanian prosecutors' lists of victims say they are not victims. This is not true. I'm talking about these two social media influencers that go by the names Beatrice and Jasmina.
It's been 2 days since I chose to come out publicly about the recent events of Andrew and Tristan Tate. I really want everyone to see how corrupted the system, the country, and the authorities are. 2 days and my friends and family are still arrested for crimes they didn't commit. 2 days and I'm still a victim in this case. I am not a victim. Beatrice is not a victim. There are no victims in this case and there is no crime. I'm not a victim, even though the prosecution is telling me I am. I've told them this over and over again, but they won't change it. The election for the new leader of the court has been announced as well, and they are using Andrew and Tristan just to make headlines. The prosecution has no evidence to support their claims, and they will find no evidence as there is no truth to this allegation.
Now, that was Jasmina, but going over to Beatrice, she told a Romanian news outlet, quote, "I don't understand how we ended up being called victims when we didn't make any statement as if I were a victim. I gave a favorable statement for them. With what right does the Romanian prosecutor's office accuse me of being a victim? Did I write that in the statement? I didn't write that anywhere. It is an abuse by the prosecutor's office against me. The girls were never deprived of their freedom. They always had access to the telephone. The door was always open." Now again, could she be telling the truth? Could Jasmina be telling the truth? Absolutely. But could it also be a case where if you believe this lover boy method allegation, could it be that these women were brainwashed into believing they are not victims? I'm just playing both sides of how this could be presented if it ever ended up in a court of law. Let's go back to Romanian lawyer Stefan Loredan. He had a very interesting perspective on this because you would think, wow, this surely helps Andrew Tate. Key witnesses, the alleged victims, saying they're not victims, saying this is corruption, of course. Well, according to Stefan, maybe not.
There are some girls that supposedly they are victims inside this case, and they are coming out now, and they are claiming that they are not victims and the system is corrupt, and they are put as victims against their wills. The idea is that this is doing more bad than good to Andrew Tate, because right now, the judge and the prosecutor is facing a situation where if they would be set free, then it means that the whole narrative of the system being corrupt and them being wrong will be accepted. Does that make sense? Just think about it from the prosecutor's perspective or from the judge's perspective, right? If two of the allegedly victims in this case are coming out there and are saying that, oh, I'm a victim against my will, the system is corrupted, blah, 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 then if I would be set you free, then it means that I would accept the fact that the system is corrupt and that you are against your will in this case, right? And so it will make them look bad in a sense. So it's only messing up things, in my opinion, for Andrew Tate. Even if they are telling the truth, the prosecutor has the right, to auto detect, in a sense, the fact that you might be a victim in this case, even though you don't want to complain about it, even though, so the charge can still stay on because of that.
I found that so interesting. If we release them and end the prosecution, it'll look like this whole thing was corrupt. Well, we have to move forward. We have no choice. And that brings me now to another big development. Andrew Tate speaking from jail. Maybe that was the wrong way to say it. I could say it's him, but is it really him? It's probably not. I'm really mentioning how his Twitter account has been quite active. There have been messages posted every day on his Twitter account, maybe under his direction. I'll give you some of them. Quote, "A man without struggle is never going to be a powerful man. The best men you know are men that have been through struggle or depressed and have come out on the other side. If you're going to be a hero, you're going to suffer." There was another one that said, "Scammers and demons walk amongst you. The Matrix is designed to promote an ideology that makes you weak, poor, and alone. Negative influences are promoted and paraded to weaken you, while empowering influences get locked in a cell. They can imprison
Hello
me.
and welcome to another out-of-spec reviews video and a deep freezing cold weather experiment.
To your
I
ancestors
parked
and loved
my
ones
Tesla Model
become
3 at
financially
a
free.
supercharger for 2
And aside
days,
from just
obviously
the
not blocking his
texts,
spot. I
texts
pushed it
that
off
are
to the
posted
side, different
several
part of the
posts on
parking
Twitter,
lot.
He also,
days
or
to
whoever's
deep
operating the
freeze.
account,
And we
also
got
posted
down to
videos
minus
too that this
14
whole
degrees
prosecution is
Fahrenheit,
corrupt.
minus
That the
20
prosecutors are
and below
merely trying to
degrees
look for
Celsius.
evidence that they will never
and what I wanted
find
to do was to
because
get
it
there
doesn't
during
exist.
one of the coldest portions of the night,
Putem in tact.
pull it to the supercharger, plug it in, and see what happens. We all know batteries don't like to charge when they're deep frozen, so of course we know Teslas will run a battery heater before they accept a charge. And in this video we find out how long it takes and all of the cool, weird, creaky noises and stuff that happens. So let me walk you through the testing procedures. We'll go over to the supercharger and I'll show you exactly what happens. At the end of this video, I've prepared all of the charging logs, so you'll be able to see that. There's also a link in the description so you can print out a Google Sheets of every minute, basically, of the charging session if you're curious for yourself. So this is my 2019 Tesla Model 3 Performance. It's been in countless videos. It's been a trusty companion and just a wonderful, reliable piece of machinery. Had some issues here and there. Those have pretty much been fixed and they've all been cosmetic. In terms of battery and motor performance, it's been wonderful. By the way, I just did a service mode video on this, checking the battery health, and it actually came back at 8%, which sounds dreadful. So I called up Tesla and asked them, what the heck's going on here? And they actually said, you know, I got tossed around a million times between different people telling me they don't know what a battery health check is. Finally, the right guy got on the app and he said, oh, there's actually a bug with the Tesla service mode where some cars don't read accurately, this one being one, because he did his own check and he says my high voltage systems, everything's working great on this car, nothing to be alarmed at all. So in this video, we can know we have a pretty approved, good working high voltage system for this test that we're doing at the supercharger. They said they're issuing a firmware update in Q1 2023 so that if other people are getting these weird health results back like I did, we'll run it again, let's just say in March or April, something like that, after the update comes, and we'll get better, hopefully more accurate results. Anyway, testing procedures. I parked this car at the Loveland, Colorado supercharger. It's a huge parking lot just to the side of the supercharger, not blocking any spaces. And what we did, you'll see in the video essentially, is I let it deep freeze for 2 days, got super cold. We plugged it in with the car indicating -9 degrees Fahrenheit, the weather channel indicating -14. When we unplugged from the supercharger, actually just about 20 minutes later, it got down to -21 degrees Fahrenheit. That'll be for the next video. So let's go over to Loveland supercharger and see what happens. Word of warning before this video starts. Some people will take this information and not fully understand it. They'll think electric cars don't charge in the cold. They'll think it takes over an hour to get any juice into your battery pack or anything like that. Couldn't be farther from the truth. In a Tesla, for those who don't own one, when you navigate to a supercharger on a long trip, it will automatically warm up the battery pack on the way to that charger, and then it will, of course, charge faster with a warmer battery pack. There is one exception to that, though. There are a lot of people who live in cities and who don't have home charging, who might live close to a supercharger where the car sits outside and deep freezes. For those people, this is, unfortunately, a very relevant video. Let's go to the charger and see how long it takes for this thing to even start charging on a supercharger when it's frozen. Join me in the Model 3 now, and you are frozen.
My fingertips won't even bend right now.
Well, thanks for holding the camera. Appreciate that. So, let's see, 97 miles, 35%. The car is indicating -9. The weather channel is indicating -14. Windshield wipers, not really working. I don't want to run the heater. So I'm going to jump out. I'm going to brush the snow off of here. And I really actually want to see, do we have any regen at all? Oh my God, look at how little power availability we have. We have almost no power output or input available whatsoever. Wow, I have never seen it that aggressive. I don't want to be too harsh on the battery pack, and I do want to get it into the charger before too long. So let's put it in park. Let me brush this off and let's try it out. Let's see how this thing goes. Maybe all these cold temperatures will force me to invest in some gloves. Wow, so yeah, of course the regen unit is on, and the seat belts are frozen, everything is frozen in here. I'm not gonna floor it or do anything crazy because I really don't wanna push the car too hard. So let's just drive around the parking lot here really quick and see, do we have any regen. I'm full off, no, not even a hint of regen. So the battery pack doesn't want any energy whatsoever. So let's go plug this thing in, this frozen brick of a Model 3, this poor car.
Like it's literally ice in here.
We've had this car in 130-degree weather in Death Valley and minus pretty much 20-degree weather tonight. Minus 25 it's gonna maybe get down to. And the coldest temperatures out there. Just crazy temperature swing. So let's back it up here. I can barely see anything outside of the car, to be honest. So let's back it to this end spot. I think that's gonna be our best bet, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah. This end unit right here. And coming on in, getting it as close as possible. Hopefully it'll reach. I think we're pretty much in the snow thing. So now we see what happens. I have climate control off. Again, I haven't preconditioned it to a supercharger, but I can already hear pumps running in the background. So jump out with me. Let's get this thing plugged in, and then we'll run in and look at the data. Wow, you hear how creaky the doors are and stuff? Everything is creaky.
Whoa. That's deep.
The camera work on this one. We're frozen. Look at this.
And so is that.
There's like an EA cable. And it wants to pop out. I have to just press it on it for it to latch. Come on, baby.
Palazar, defend the sacred hall!
I think it's frozen. I don't think it's going to last.
Long have I awaited noble champions to enter my
That
realm.
was a non-latching situation right there.
The halls of battle.
Wow, that is a cold one. I gotta open up the camera because the back windows.
This place will test your mettle. And if you are found worthy, the Aegis of Agramar will be yours.
We'll find another unit to collect.
Marked by lightning!
It doesn't matter that we really have to share stalls. That's not big power at all. So let's just
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
all the way back. Let's get this one juicing. Here we go, another completely frozen cable. Went in nicely this time. Wow, I feel like I'm gonna get frostbite just touching that thing. And so now it's blue, orange. Come on, latch. Wow, these are not latching at all. It's just so cold. Come on, don't touch it. Let it communicate. Will it start charging? Will it start charging?
Dragon breath growing.
The blood of the unworthy will flow through these halls.
0 miles an hour.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
5 kilowatts is going to the battery. And the way the Model 3 heats the battery pack is really super heat. It actually runs the front motor and the rear motor. It's wasting heat. So it runs
Blood of the unworthy will
creating
flow
up to 7
through these
kilowatts,
halls.
3.5 kilowatts each. That's wasting heat. And now runs the battery pack. Wow, this thing is so frozen. You plug into a supercharger at 35% state charging. You can roam to 5. That is amazing. And nothing is going into the battery. toasty warm Rivian waiting for the Tesla, just as a fun experiment, of course. And Alyssa mentioned it went up a percent, but they haven't added anything to the battery pack. So, any guess as to why?
Well, I remember that
You're close. You're really close.
you did mention it and you said it.
So remember that blue section of the battery?
Yeah.
Where it, basically limits that part?
Like the buffer?
Before
Yeah,
you
it
light
basically
your
says,
next
hey, I'm going to
trial,
need this much to heat
defeat
up.
both Persia
As
and
it's warming up the
Fenrir,
battery,
and
you'll
you
actually
will
start to
prove
gain
your
that back.
worth to me.
And the displayed state of charge here is after the cold section is taken over. So the actual state of charge of the battery hasn't increased. It's just a software thing that says, hey, I'm warming up, so I need less buffer. It has now been a full half hour and no energy has started to been added to the battery pack as of yet. 2 kilowatt hours have been delivered from the charger to the car. The supercharger is pretty much all but empty out at the moment. And that's just so interesting to me. I didn't think it was going to take a half hour to start charging. This is super cool. It really shows you the importance of en-route battery preconditioning. A little tip for a lot of new electric car owners or for people who may watch this video and think, hey, why is it taking so long for this car to charge? This is a very extreme case, something you never run into really in the real world.
Elements answer to me!
For those who might be considering an electric car, I don't want to paint the picture that they're all perfect, but certainly with a car like this, you put in a trip, the car will automatically run the heater on the way to the charger, you plug in, you charge for 15 minutes, and you go. Even in cold weather, you can see the station's empty by now. Everyone got in and out. Superchargers, people are always in and out in waves, of course. So it'll be really interesting to see how long it'll take before it even starts accepting a charge, but just ripping 7 kilowatts on the battery heater, and yeah. No idea how long it'll take, maybe an hour. We'll see. And Alyssa, you just popped out. We're chatting with one of our viewers who has the Model X here. He's like, can't even make a round trip to Livermore to Fort Collins and back in this cold. Yeah, very bad efficiency, but super nice guy. And so it just started charging 23 kilowatts. Very interesting that it just went from 0 and then gave it 20 kilowatts. It didn't give it like 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. It just went, here you go. The thing with that is I've noticed the same on regen. Regen just cuts everything. No regen, just the car free rolls in the morning. And then it gives me, boom, a big brick of power. Let's jump in and see how it's doing.
Marked by lightning.
So there we go. Charging up 26 kilowatts. And the battery still got the snowflake, interestingly. So it took about 4 kilowatt hours of waste heat to start this thing to get charging. Very, very cool. Yeah, the guy in the Model X, I think it was Jason, super nice guy. He was really curious to see how long it was going to take, but that's actually not as long as I thought. After it was a half hour, I'm like, oh, it's going to be another hour. 45 minutes, something like that, to start charging slowly. I mean, so I guess let's charge it up to 90% and see how long it takes from here. And I feel like a lot of Tesla owners, especially new owners, seem to be supercharging their cars to 90%. This is obviously smaller than new cars, but let's just see how long it takes to get up to 90, and then we'll go run more experiments with it. I'm hopping back in the Rivian though, and we can go into Teslafy and analyze the full charge curve here, so I don't need to analyze it in the car. It's freezing, and I want to keep the climate control off for science. Let's go back to the Rivian. Wow. Creeps on the side. Crazy. Now, just about an hour and 10 minutes into the charging session, maybe a little bit longer than an hour 15, somewhere around there. We are at 70% state of charge. The blue snowflake has gone away, so that is a true 70% state of charge, and it's doing about 52 kilowatts, which is not far off what it would normally do. Typically, we taper on a perfectly normal charging curve down to 50 kilowatts by the time we hit about 80% state of charge. So it definitely warmed itself pretty good throughout this. Again, it's only getting colder outside. It's about minus 16 degrees Fahrenheit, according to the watch on my wrist here. Just insanely cold. And very impressed with how quickly this thing can heat up the battery pack. There's one last note I wanted to make about this battery heating, which is you can only charge as fast as your coldest item. So, or your coldest part of your pack. when we're on track, when we're doing a lot of DC charging, we always talk about something called hot spotting the battery pack. And technically, you really can't cool every bit of the battery pack, nor can you have sensors in every part of the battery pack. So there's a lot of computer modeling going on as to what the temperature actually is in the battery. That's a little bit scary because you've got to really make sure those models are perfect so you don't overheat or let your car charge with a battery too cold. And Tesla's probably better at monitoring and modeling all of these things more than it's pretty insane how really hardcore they push it to the limits here compared to any other automaker. And guess what? They do it with very high reliability. It's impressive. But, you know, something we don't really think about is cold spotting. The heater can't touch every single cell, every single bit of the battery pack, nor can it warm up every side of every cell. So there's a lot of modeling going on here. The computers are doing a lot of work to figure out what's the coldest part of the battery pack and what's that maximum power that we can put in for that coldest temperature, because you're only as strong as your weakest link. Something like that, at least, is the saying. So, we're pretty close to 90%. We'll let it keep going, and then we'll go home and analyze the full data. Hope you're enjoying this. I'm absolutely loving it. We are nearing the end of our charge.
Marked by lightning!
We're getting close to finishing up. And there we are, 89% state of charge. Wow, super cold in here. Kept finding it off. Heated seats actually stayed off, so they're just kicking themselves back on. But since that, I'm 37 kilowatt hours. Again, that's from the charger into the battery pack. We'll have to look to see how much in Teslafy NCPs to warm the battery. Interestingly, the temperature here while charging has increased significantly, way under 1 degree Fahrenheit. Way under. It is an ice cube in this car. So, come on, baby. Just a couple more seconds left. There we go. Charging complete. Unable to charge. Disconnect the driver. That makes sense. Okay, next time, navigate to the supercharger. Battery will precondition for faster charging. All right, well, let's juice this thing up. I'm going to go high because screw it. And we're about to do some more experiments.
The elements answer to me!
So, off we go to Colton's shop. We're going to run some more experiments. Let me see what Alyssa wants to do, which one she wants to try. But either way, I'll see you back at home, and we'll analyze the data from this super fun experiment. Very interestingly, we actually have no power limit on regen or acceleration. This thing's ready to rip. The motors are probably really toasty after running waste heat for that long. I don't have, let's scan my Tesla in. I lost actually my adapter for it. And I'll have the new one. What am I trying to do? This one. Track mode. Let's see. The motor's hot. Yeah, look at that. The motor's got toasty in the rear, burning off all that waste heat. That's funny. I figured that would be the case. Let's turn off track mode. Back to drive. Windshield can barely see anything out of it. Let's put on the rear defrost. Okay, let's rock and roll. And we just left the supercharger. You can see minus 14 degrees Fahrenheit there. Super duper chilly. Minus 15. It's just going down and down as we're driving.
The elements answer to me!
Not easy conditions for this car to perform in. And I gotta say, that took a while, yes, but also that's a lot of thermal mass that you have to heat up. So overall, pretty impressive. And of course, you can just send your Model 3 wherever you want. So easy. Love to have track mode if you want to have some fun. Man, I love this car. So there you go, the Model 3 deep freeze experiment. I know that this is, some people will take this video and be like, oh, Teslas won't charge in the cold. And unfortunately, there's really no way around it. For our expert users, most of you guys, you'll understand, like, hey, if you're on a road trip and you precondition your car to a supercharger, it's no problem at all. It's all vertically integrated, works great. Again, I left the car at the charger for 2 days to turn into an ice cube, 2 full days, and then plug it straight into fast charging just to see what would happen. That pretty much will never happen in the real world. I'm sure there's a few cases where it will. The car can easily handle it. You just have to wait for it to juice up a little bit. And again, that's always proof. If you're on a road trip and it's really cold, charge up the night before if you want to wake up and go. Actually, what I do on road trips typically is leave the car at about 40-50% state of charge. and then in the morning before I get up and shower, I run out in my underwear. I really don't, but that'd be kind of funny. Plug in the car to a supercharger. It runs the battery heating, gets it up to 90, 95%. It doesn't sit at high state of charge, and everything's nice and warm for a very efficient stretch on the next leg. It works out really well. I do that very often on road trips that have superchargers at hotels. So there you go. Thanks for watching another Out of Spec Reviews video. I thought this was fascinating. Would be really curious to see how other cars handle this type of logic. So I'm actually doing one with a Nissan Leaf. Two Nissan Leafs. One broke. That's enough for the video. We also have Model 3 heater race, PCC versus heat pump coming out in the next couple of days. We do a lot of cold weather testing. So thanks so much for watching. See you in another one soon. Bye-bye.
Electric cars are being announced seemingly weekly by established brands at this point. There are tons of options on the horizon, all while Tesla is continuing to scale production of their main two cars, Model 3 and Model 1. Oftentimes, people see the benefits of an electric car but don't understand why people would pay up for an electric car from Tesla. They're newer to cars than most, have had a history of build quality issues, and have a controversial billionaire CEO. Today we're going to break down the 10 reasons you might want to buy a Tesla instead of another electric car, so let's get into it. Electric cars are being announced seemingly weekly by established brands at this point. There are tons of options on the horizon, all while Tesla is continuing to scale production of their main two cars, Model 3 and Model 1. Oftentimes people can see the benefits of an electric car but don't understand why people would pay up for an electric car from Tesla. They're newer to cars than most, have had a history of build quality issues, and have a controversial billionaire CEO. Today we're going to break down the 10 reasons you might want to buy a Tesla instead of another electric car, so let's get into it. To start off with, let's quickly summarize the ways that all EVs can be better than gas vehicles. They're quiet and are zero emissions when charged from sustainable sources. Long term, especially as more power is being generated from sustainable sources, these cars are They're also cheaper to fuel than gas vehicles, don't require oil changes, have far less maintenance due to far fewer moving parts, and save you time when you can charge at home. On a road trip, we'll be in a different scenario charging AC fast chargers, and we'll talk about Tesla's advantage there. But for daily driving, you will find yourself saving time with an EV. You get home, plug in, and the car charges automatically during your off-peak hours. For myself, never needing to stop for gas is incredibly convenient, and charging at home saves me a lot of time. Then EVs have instant torque. There's no delay in accelerating, and this enables quicker acceleration, which makes all EVs feel much quicker than their gas counterparts. In fact, the quickest accelerating vehicles in the world are now electric. So all of these benefits exist on a Tesla Model Y or a Hyundai Ioniq 5. Why would you buy a Tesla? Before we dive in, I want to specify that I'm pro-EV in general. I love all new EVs coming from all brands, but this video is detailing the reasons why Teslas are so popular. To start off with, number one is direct sales. Tesla only sells direct to the customer. When you order a Tesla, your car will be delivered at the price you ordered it for. There's no room for Tesla to charge a surprise markup after you order your car and the price. Unfortunately, this is not the case with other brands because they use dealers. Dealers are very much known to be the worst and have recently been known to have markups on EVs in particular. When I inquired about an Ioniq 5 last year, I was told it would be $10,000 over MSRP. Others are still experiencing this with EVs. The Ford F-150 Lightning has also seen markups, but Ford is finally cracking down on this behavior, and they're seeing frustrated customers just go to a company who sells without last-minute price increases like this, Tesla. Another practice of dealers as well is to upcharge you on often useless things like maintenance. Here's one a dealer upsold to this Chevy Bolt buyer for maintenance on their EV, including free oil changes. Oil changes are not part of the way.
5,
That dealer
4,
did reverse it, but dealing with this is something customers are tired of, especially when it comes on a vehicle they ordered. Customers have oftentimes pre-ordered the vehicle, put down a small deposit, and then come to find out that in order to take delivery of their car, the dealer wants extra money. For many, it's worth paying Tesla extra just to not have to deal with any of that surprise. To note as well, Tesla is the main company delivering more affordable cars in large quantities that sell direct, but Rivian and Lucid now sell direct as well. The trend is changing, and that's a good thing for consumers. Now, number two is safety. Electric cars are already safer than gas vehicles in general. The large battery pack from Ford helps with rollover risk, but battery EVs are consistently shown to catch on fire much less frequently than internal combustion engine vehicles. Regardless of the EV, it's safer. For Teslas, though, they're the safest vehicles you can buy in general. The Model Y has the highest possible IIHS rating in the US, and recently was rated the highest of any vehicle by Euro NCAP. By multiple testing standards in multiple countries, you can't get safer than a Tesla Model Y. The Model 3 as well achieved the lowest probability of failure in its back in 2019. Each year, Tesla continues to make their cars safer, and they continue to pass all safety tests with flying colors. Worth noting as well, this is safety when the car is getting through the test. Tesla includes active safety features standard on all vehicles, including automatic emergency braking, forward collision warning, side collision warning, obstacle-aware acceleration, blind spot monitoring, and lane departure avoidance. For the 2022 Model Y, Euro NCAP just ranked these features under Safety Assist and gave them a 98%. So Teslas are the best at preventing accidents and the safest to be in during an accident. As a quick comparison when talking about Euro NCAP, the Ioniq 5 got 88% in Safety Assist and 88% for adult occupant. So the Ioniq 5 is still scoring well along with others like the Mach-E, but Tesla has the best safety out there verified by multiple agencies. One other aspect of safety is the HEPA filter included in the Model Y, Model S, and Model X. This helps ensure the air quality of the car is as good as it can be and beats most other cars out there. Quote, Tesla's HEPA filtration removes 99.97% airborne particulates such as smoke, bacteria, and pollen. This functions anytime the climate control system is using outside air, but they also have bioweapon defense, which positively pressurizes the cabin in an extreme condition. Safety is a focus in many ways for Tesla. Number 3 relates to charging. I now have
Answer to me!
But if you plan to road trip in your EV, the Tesla experience cannot be beat. Tesla now has over 40,000 charging stalls worldwide, and these are all DC fast chargers. Currently in the US, these are exclusive to Tesla vehicles, meaning Teslas have access to thousands of charging locations when on road trips. Pretty much anywhere I want to go, Tesla chargers have me covered. Unfortunately, with any other EV at this point, that simply is not the case. It's a toss-up as to locations first, but then reliability. When I road tripped in my Rivian R1T up and down California, a very pro-EV state, I had a terrible experience trying to get it charged. It added about 2 hours to our trip because we arrived at multiple chargers at a low state of charge and found them to be entirely broken or absurdly slow. We went to 3 separate locations before finding a charger that worked as advertised from Electrify America. Conversely, I've road tripped dozens of times in our Tesla, and this has never been an issue. We've driven from Los Angeles to Seattle, Washington, to Las Vegas, to Northern California, and more. It is so much better to the point where I would say, if you plan to road trip in your EV, Tesla is the option. Number 4 relates to depreciation. Typically, cars depreciate as soon as you drive them off the lot. That's not happening quite the same with vehicles in general, but especially Teslas. Teslas are in such demand that used prices stay up for them. They also hold value really well since mileage doesn't affect them the same as other vehicles. For example, here's a 2020 Model 3 for sale in Tijuana. This car today is technically only $2,500. Technically as well, Tesla has a discount making a new standard range Model 3 cheaper than this if you can time it right. This could be another reason to buy a Tesla instead of another EV. Currently, Tesla is offering $3,750 off of a Model 3 or Model Y if you take delivery in December of 2022 before the year ends. This is likely to incentivize customers to avoid putting off their orders since next year some of these cars will qualify for an EV tax incentive. More on that in a second. Regarding depreciation though, IC Cars found that the average depreciation of all EVs coming off of leasing was about 52%. The Model S was 36.3%, already beating EVs and non-EVs. The Model 3 depreciated only 10.2%. As IC Cars said, quote, Tesla is, or at least appears to be, ahead of its competitors when it comes to battery technology and range, which makes its cars more desirable and keeps retail prices high. There are many factors at play here, but we very well could see similar depreciation numbers with Model Ys in the future as people keep wanting to get these cars. It'll be very interesting to watch. In any case, that leads us to number 5, where Tesla makes their cars. A big reason why most people are confident that the Tesla Model Y will fully qualify for an EV incentive coming up in 2023 is because their cars are built in the United States. Tesla's original Fremont factory, located in California, still makes all Model 3s in America, and the majority of Model Ys shipped. The rest of the Model Ys in North America come from their second U.S. factory in Texas. In fact, the top 2 most American-made cars, as indexed by Cars.com, are the Model Y and Model 3. If supporting U.S. manufacturing and products made in the U.S. are important to you, Tesla makes the most American-made cars out there. The Model X is number 5, followed by the Model S at number 6. A big reason these cars top this list is because their battery packs are made at Tesla's Gigafactory. Common brands you may expect to top this list, like Ford and GM, don't actually enter the list until number 11 with the Corvette. Ford isn't even in the top 12. Regarding EVs specifically, the Chevy Bolt is assembled in Michigan, the Mach-E is assembled in Mexico, and the Ioniq 5 is assembled in South Korea. Eventually, Hyundai plans to assemble in the US as well, so GM should be ramping up US EV assembly. But right now, Tesla has everyone beat by a long shot. Somehow, people seem to miss this, but it's a big part of Tesla. They are based in America and make their US-delivered cars in the US. Number 6 relates to the technology in Tesla's vehicles, specifically software. The Model 3 and Y are mainly controlled with one large center touchscreen, and a big benefit of this is the software updates. Throughout ownership, free updates bring various feature improvements, bug fixes, and fun additions that just don't come on other EVs. Other cars like the Mach-E and Ioniq 5 are bringing over-the-air software updates, but none have been seen yet on the level Tesla delivers them. They are constantly improving features in their cars, listening to feedback, and improving user experience. On top of that as well, each year Tesla brings out a fun holiday update. This sometimes brings a couple fun Easter eggs or a light show, but other times brings an entirely updated UI and more. From a software perspective, I've tried a lot of cars, and Tesla has all companies beat and continues improving. Reliability, responsiveness, and customization are the best in Tesla software compared to other EVs available. One particular feature of this as well, which originally was an over-the-air software update, is number 7, Sentry Mode. Sentry Mode is a security system included in every Tesla that utilizes the cameras these cars have all over. When motion is detected, the car will begin filming with the cameras, and you can review the footage in vehicle if anything were to happen. It's saved to an included USB drive in the glove box as well. This system has helped a lot of people in tough situations, and it's something that isn't available in most EVs. Technically, Rivian has a similar system called Gear Guard, but the other side of Sentry Mode is the built-in dash cam. This is something I have yet to see on any other EV. When driving, your cameras are constantly filming in a Tesla, so if something happens on the road, the footage will either automatically save when you honk the horn, or save when you press the dash cam button on screen. You then have the event recorded from 4 different angles. The combination of dash cam and Sentry Mode included standard on each Tesla is something exclusive to them, but I do hope others like Rivian will add a dash cam in the future via software updates. Now, number 8 also relates to the technology in Teslas, and that's autopilot. Tesla's included autopilot system does adaptive cruise control and auto steer for you. It keeps you centered in your lane and will drive for you. It's mainly designed for the freeway, but one particular advantage of autopilot is that it works almost anywhere there are clear road markings. Many other companies rely on pre-mapped freeways, and that's what the system for lane keeping is in the Mach-E or Rivian R1T. These systems work well, but in my personal experience, autopilot is the best driver assist system out there. It's not without its flaws, but a particular benefit of autopilot is that Tesla is constantly working on deeper self-driving tasks that inform this system, instead of a system designed to drive pre-mapped roads. It's an AI neural network learning from driving data and improving so it can handle any and all situations. Over time, autopilot should only see a lot of improvement, and it's included standard in every Tesla. Number 9 has to do with experience. Tesla is one of the newest automakers out there, but the big thing people forget to consider is that EVs are entirely different from gasoline vehicles. There's a lot of new technology inside of every single EV, and the main part of that car is the autopilot. When it comes to electric vehicles, Tesla has more experience than any other company. Tesla has sold more than 3 million cars around the world. Each one of these cars is 100% electric. Comparing this to Ford, the second biggest producer of EVs in the US, they just recently made their 150,000th Mach-E, their first true EV offering, and they've sold a few thousand. GM is planning a number of EVs as well, but we keep unfortunately seeing issues with vehicle launches due to varying battery costs. While I don't like to look at past mistakes as a sign of the future, their track record for battery problems with the Chevy Bolt doesn't look great. So if you're looking for the company with the most EV experience and the best track record, it's actually Tesla. Last up is number 10, and that's the Tesla app. Many different cars offer an app, but I've never seen one as well put together and improving as rapidly as the Tesla app. In the app, you have normal basic tasks like unlocking the car, opening the doors, and setting charge limits. Many vehicle apps have these features, but in the Tesla app, you also have climate control, allowing you to precondition the car and turn on specific heated seats. You also have location, showing your precise vehicle location, scheduling options for charging or departure, Sentry Mode, valet mode, speed limit mode, and the ability to give other drivers vehicle access. Charging stats show you exactly how many kilowatt hours you have charged in the last 31 days as well, and how much you spent charging. The calculates this by connecting directly with your utility plan, giving you tons of details about your rates, and it will estimate how much you have saved by charging instead of filling up with gas. It's incredibly in-depth and has continued to improve in recent months. Below that, if you have Tesla insurance, you can check in on your safety score, schedule service for the road, or request roadside assistance. Now as well, you can see the release notes for the version of software your car is on. Last but certainly not least is the ability to check in on your Sentry Mode cameras streamed live to your phone. You simply press Live Camera, and you can get a live view of the 4 exterior cameras to check in and make sure everything is fine with your car. This is a feature that no other vehicle offers at this point, and I imagine it will be quite some time before we see anything like this enabled on other cars. The Tesla app is incredibly reliable and really just stands out above the rest of EVs out there. You can also create a home screen widget for your vehicle and have quick controls there whenever you need. We talked a bit about autopilot earlier, but I neglected to mention full self-driving. It's like a bonus number 11. I skipped it earlier because to me, this system is overpriced and under-delivering. Tesla has promised robo-taxis for a while, and now has delivered a self-driving beta that's impressive, but definitely not a robo-taxi. Tesla charges $15,000 for the FSD beta that will drive you in any scenario, but requires tons of supervision. It's by no means entirely autonomous at this point, so the pricing doesn't make sense to me, but it could in the future. Tesla is hard at work on self-driving and collecting billions of miles of data to improve their systems. It's improving rapidly, and buying a Tesla could mean that in the future, a paid software update allows you to have the car drive for you. I think this is a ways off, but it's worth noting. There's definitely no other EV, let alone any other car that has this potential. So if you're someone who likes beta testing new technology, only Tesla offers this. It also likely will trickle down to the autopilot system, as I mentioned earlier, so maybe basic autopilot like myself, FSD improvements are a good thing for the system. No other EV company is investing this heavily in self-driving directly on the vehicle that you're driving. As you can see, there are a number of reasons to buy a Tesla instead of another EV. They offer a number of significant advantages that other cars don't offer at this point. With that said, there are a lot of great EV options out there. I'd just consider if these 10 things are deal breakers for you or not. I hope this video was helpful for you, and in the meantime, if you want to see my full review of the Rivian R1T after 1 month, you can check out that video linked up here in the description below. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.
Hi, welcome to Best in Tesla News, episode 153. Tesla cut prices around the world, but no one could keep up with. And Tesla was the only automaker that was up in 2022 in the US. And the EV adoption did actually speed up in 2022 compared to the trend line. And Volkswagen's carrier software chief promised progress one step at a time. And Mercedes also want to start up their own charging network to run Tesla. And we have some more news about Tesla's new Gigafactory. But Tesla also filed a new expansion for the Texas factory. Goodyear is making sustainable tires from soybean rice. And Neuralink is now taking patients. For this, much more on today's episode. Let's dive right in. Tesla made a checkmate move with their price cut globally this week, leaving the old automakers in trouble. But let's start with China, as we have heard a lot about the demand problems in China. But Tesla should have seen orders increase after the big price cut. There has of course been protests because of this, as we always see every time they make a price cut, but changing the prices is something all automakers do all the time, so can't see how these protests would change anything. But people have also forgotten what Tesla has already told us, as Tom Su, Tesla's China boss, said in this whole video. As long as the optimization of the supply chain and improvement of production efficiency brings down costs, we will pass the savings to the consumer. This principle hasn't changed. This will only continue going forward. It will go up and down, but in general, it should continue to go up in price if Tesla keeps up with demand.
5,
Remember all the price rises that they did in 2021 and 2022 because they couldn't keep up with demand, but Tesla has almost doubled their production capacity in 2022 in China, making Tesla able to lower the prices yet again. So don't think people really have to worry about demand in China. I personally think everything is okay and Tesla is in control. Remember, Tesla sold a record number of cars in China last year, and the Model Y became the best-selling SUV in the premium category, and the second overall in SUVs. And according to data from the Chinese Passenger Car Association, it outsold the second and third models combined in the segment. So, if Tesla has a demand problem, well, seems like everyone is having a demand problem. But we will see a lot more changes in China than elsewhere, as there is also
the elements answer to me.
But rumors has it that some of these protests in China because of Tesla price cut were organized by employees from BYD. And we have heard rumors of BYD's salesperson reportedly stating that over the weekend many reservation users have come to cancel their order and transfer to Tesla. And a study in China claims that Tesla store received 500% more foot traffic after announcing the price cut. If all of this is true, Tesla's price cuts are a serious jab at BYD. And we know they are hardly making any money on their EVs, so for Tesla to lower their price this much and get close to BYD's prices in China and still earn a lot of money on
Wowzers, what idiot would do that?
What a mess. They look like they've been wired by a hamster. Oh man, this is horrible. It's just like soul destroying. What on earth? DIY disaster.
Is it half a day today, Jordan?
Pardon? Alright, I'm trying to run a business at the same time as, you know, give me some slack here. Hello and welcome back to Artisan Electrics, where we're here today with my boy John. I'm back on the tools, we're doing an EICR, and there's a lot of future work that's going to be happening here. We're going to be doing a consumer unit upgrade, battery storage as well, and an EV charging point. It's a little bit of a different one, so I want to show you everything that's inside. I think you'll find it quite fascinating. Hope you enjoyed today's video where we'll talk through with you all of our little tips and tricks for EICRs and show you what we're planning to do here. There's a lot of work that we're looking forward to. But before we get into it, hit a thumbs up, subscribe, and let's go. Today's video is brought to you by Dragonflight. I'll talk to you about that in a bit. So just for our non-electrician viewers, an EICR stands for Electrical Installation Condition Report. It's basically a really in-depth test and inspection of an electrical installation. We start at the consumer unit and we start with visual checks. So let me show you what's in here. So this is what we call a skeleton board, which is why it's a little bit unusual. We don't really have many skeleton boards in Cambridge. But down here in Essex, they have them a little bit more. Basically, it's inside this kind of meter box enclosure thing, but it's in the house. All the wires come into it, and then it's got just a DIN rail with a main switch and stuff. So the interesting thing about this one is our customer here is a little bit obsessed with monitoring everything in his house. So he's put a CT clamp on every single circuit to be able to monitor the exact energy usage of each individual circuit. The tricky part for us now is doing an EICR is that he's taking the board cover off in order to fit all the CT clamps in, which technically means that this is really, you know, quite unsafe because there are live parts exposed. So this would be a C1 straight away. But we're coming here to do an EICR with other work in mind. So we've got a board change that we're going to do. We've got a Zappi charger that we're going to install, and we're going to be putting battery storage in for him. So I'm kind of considering all of that as we do the EICR, knowing that we're going to upgrade this and we're going to tidy up these CTs. First glance, what I notice about this board is there's no RCD protection for any circuits, so that straight away is going to be potentially an issue because you've got socket outlets with no RCD protection that could be used outside. Nowadays, pretty much everything needs to be RCD protected. There's also no surge protection device here, so that's something that we'll need to note on the report. And what we'll do now is we're just going to go around and do a visual inspection first, just to see if there's anything that immediately jumps out at us that's unsafe. We're going to look for the main earth bonding to the gas and water to see if that's in place. And we're also, as we go around, going to plan our install for when we come back to do the other work.
So it's worth pointing out to any learners that this is a 3871 type MCB. So when you're trying to date a fuse board, these sort of got phased out in 1989, was replaced by the 60898. And it's different, rather than type B, C and D, you've got type 1, 2 and 3, as you can see here. And they don't have as higher rated max ZS. But it's a good way to sort of start carbon dating the fuse board and to tell when it was built and when it was installed. And then you can see some new colours here. There's been some upgrades. And then the M numbers, they don't have KA, they have M rather than...
So M6 means it's 6 KA.
A lot of them will be M3s, M4s.
It does actually have a label on the side saying it's type tested to BS3871. And they've completely removed the tables from 3871 out of the regs book now, haven't they? So you can't even kind of...
So does that mean you're supposed to blanket fail them? They've removed the 4293 RCD as well.
Yeah. Let us know, guys, in the comments, for those of you who are, you know, electricians who do EICRs a lot, how would you code it now if it's a 3871 MCB or a 4293 RCD? Do you fail it, or would you just put a note on there? Let us know all your comments. So this is the main cutout fuse. This is a little bit of a new one for me. It looks quite different to the ones that we're used to around Cambridge. John reckons that it might actually be a 40 amp fuse in there. And they've put new tails in, but the new tails are only 16 mil, so it's definitely not going to be more than a 60 amp fuse in there for sure. It's on a looped supply as well. So under here you can see that there's a cable coming in and a cable going out. That means that this supply is shared with one of the neighbours potentially, which means that they're not going to be able to upgrade that potentially to a 100 amp fuse without unlooping the supply, which can be quite complicated and expensive. So we'll definitely have to put active load management in to make sure that the EV charger doesn't blow the main fuse if we can't get it upgraded. I'm learning a lot today from John because he used to work for the DNO, so he knows all the little inside secrets that the DNO guys know. And one of them is this little blue nodule here, this little blue thing, shows that it's on the blue phase, this particular supply. So in the past, the phase colours were red, yellow and blue, so blue would be L3. Now we have brown, black and grey, so grey is now L3. So we're going to go around now and do what we call a long wander lead test, or R2 test. It's basically where we use this on the low resistant ohm setting, continuity test setting, with this long green lead, which allows us to go around and just dab our tester onto anything that's metallic that we think should be earthed. Metal light fittings, main water, main gas bond, and we can just do that now as we go around doing our visual checks.
So this one, if we touch one of the fixing screws, we're getting a nice low reading and the tester's making a racket. And then this wall light here, absolutely nothing. So it's a quick and easy way to show whether things are earthed, especially class 1 equipment like this.
So what we're doing now is we're checking the main earth bonding connection to the water pipe, which is usually next to the main stopcock for the water. And the main stopcock for the water is usually in an annoying place like under the sink. So we found the main stopcock, we'll show you that in a second, and it does look like it's a copper pipe coming in, doesn't it?
It is, yeah.
On the ground. I can't see above the
No, but this is why it's important to carry out a wander lead check, because just because you can't see it doesn't mean it's not there. Yeah. So there's this rule of thumb of 0.05, which is nonsense, it doesn't exist, it's just a number that this rule of thumb that seems to have just developed over the years. Apparently it was a number that was in the 16th edition, but you'd have to know the length of the cable to know the resistance of that cable, to know what the reading should be. But as a rule, if it's low enough, you can assume it's bonded. So this one here, and we are getting 0.03.
So does that mean you think it is bonded somewhere?
I would say so. There's about 4 cables leading forward. It might be a case that they go up to the immersion cupboard and link across every single pipe, and that's the reason we're getting a low reading. However, if we're upgrading the fuse box, we're going to have to upgrade the bonding as well, aren't we? Yeah. So this will have to be upgraded to 10 mil.
It's going to be tricky to get a 10 mil earth around to here, I think.
It is.
The gas is there. We'll check if the gas is bonded, but that might be an option to maybe, I don't know, follow the same route that they've used for the gas bomb.
We've got some exposed light connectors there. It's fed via this plug, but still it's not very clever. If you have a look in there, you can get straight on that.
Ooh.
It's not earthed.
Okay.
So this is a class 1 fitting that's not earthed. And as you can see,
So the fact that it's giving us voltage reading, which means that there is potential between true earth and the casing of that fitting, which means it's definitely not earthed properly. So we do need to investigate that further, because potentially someone could touch true earth and get an electric shock, which is why all metallic parts that have the potential to become live under fault conditions need to be connected to the earthing system of the property so that they're all at the same potential difference.
it's like a light mill. Yeah. It's like a daisy chain. We've got a spur into a light switch, another spur to a little vacuum socket.
Ah, I smell the DIY disaster brewing here. You know when the customer's got a box of wires and connectors, you know when the customer's got something like that they like to do their own DIY electrics. But I did say the customer's got an electrical background of sorts, so it's not too surprising. So I'm trying to figure out what this switch fuse connection unit does. I turned it off thinking it might do the light, but it doesn't. I'm wondering if maybe it either does this burglar alarm panel or it does the socket over here for the Hoover. But either way, it's just kind of a weird setup. So you've got this light, obviously a switch from this switch. You've got a fuse connection unit which comes off the light switch, which does the burglar alarm panel. So I can only assume that this fuse connection unit here just does the socket here for the Dyson Hoover. But it's on a bit of a weird configuration, really.
Didn't the regs just change about 1 mil with sockets?
Ooh, I don't know.
I'm pretty sure that Dave Savory mentioned something about you're not allowed to have 1 mil feed in the socket. It used to be 1.5, but it might have just changed in the regs. I'd have to read it up to double check.
Okay, that could be interesting. So this lighting cable here is a little bit 1 millimeter squared cable that's spurred off this socket to feed the switch fuse connection unit for the cooker hood. Now this is a bit of a tricky one because it's on a switch fuse connection unit, so technically that piece of cable is never going to pull more than 3 amps or 5 amps or whatever size fuse is in that switch fuse connection unit. So it could have actually been designed this way. Like I spoke to an NIC EIC inspector about this, and he said, well, somebody might have designed it that way, that that cable is fine for that specific load because it's protected by a fuse, and the fuse protects this cable as well. Let me know your thoughts about that, because my gut feeling is I just don't like it, but at the same time, what is the actual risk of anything going wrong with that? What would you say, John?
It's a hard one, really, because I mean, that clip direct can take around 13 amps, so even if you misfused it, it could still potentially take 13 amps. But then it depends on the load as well. Is it a resistive load? Or, I mean, if it's got a motor in it, then it could fault and overload. It's not purely resistive, is it? So I don't know.
Probably a C3. I'd say probably not a C2, just because the actual risk of something going wrong with it is very minimal.
Yeah, I'd go for a C3, but I'm probably going to whip the spur off and check what fuse is in it as well.
So this is the cooker switch, and immediately we have an issue, which is single insulated conductors that are visible outside of the enclosure. That's not acceptable, so that would be a C2. And I'll talk about the classification codes in a minute for those of you who don't understand what they are. I'll explain what those are. But then they spurred off this cooker switch with a bit of 2.5mm squared twin and earth to feed this 32 amp commando socket, which is being used to run a compressor in the garage. So it's all a little bit Heath Robinson, and I would definitely be recommending that that gets sorted out, because this bit of 2.5 twin and earth is not strong enough to take 32 amps on a continuous basis. So when it comes to classification codes on an EICR, there are basically 4 codes. C1, which is you can see it, you can touch it, and it's immediately dangerous, you could be killed, you know. C2 is basically it's potentially dangerous, so one thing would need to happen for that to become dangerous, like that single insulated cable that's visible. All it would take is for someone to slash that by mistake, and then copper would be exposed, a live conductor would be exposed, and there would be a problem. C3 is basically doesn't comply with the regulations. It recommended improvement, but it's not immediately or potentially dangerous. It's just a kind of a technical non-compliance. And then FI means further investigation. That is when we find something that looks a little bit suspect and we think, I need to investigate more into that, but I don't necessarily have time to do that today as part of this EICR, so I'd recommend that somebody comes back and does further investigation on that. So like today, this light fitting that we found that's not earthed, if we've got time, which we will do today, we'll take the fitting down, have a look and see why it's not earthed, and if it's an easy fix, we'll just fix it. But if you were in a bit more of a rush and you didn't have time, you could put further investigation on that and then recommend somebody comes back to do that further investigation.
So there should be supplementary bonding in here. So there would have been a bonding wire, 4mm coming from the lights or any circuit in here. There's nothing visible, but again, I'm getting a low reading, but I'm pretty sure the supplementary bonding isn't in place. We'll have a look up in the loft and see if we can see a 4mm coming off of any of these. The worst I've seen is probably a whole house wired in speaker wire, and that's the sort of see-through one with the copper braid inside, and that was the whole house. Every single socket, all of the lighting, everything there. And I try to implore the client, like say to them, you need to disconnect this, it is so, so dangerous, but we don't have the power to switch off as electricians. All we can do is issue a danger notice. So unfortunately, that's what I did, and they left it as is.
Worst thing I've seen was actually a marijuana grow that I got called out to, where they'd bypassed the main cutout fuse. They'd just like put a copper pipe in there or something to keep, so that, and then they bypassed the meter so they weren't paying for the electricity, and they could take like hundreds of amps of power. And then they put like massive banks of sockets in every room where they wired off with these contactors and stuff for all the lights to power this marijuana grow. It was absolutely nuts. It got raided by the police basically, and I got called out to do a sort of safety check on it, but yeah, it was crazy. And talking of marijuana grows, looks like our customer's growing something in here. Oh, how disappointing. It's only tomatoes. I like the sort of iPad lay there and look up and watch something on your iPad. I mean, we're going to be putting batteries in a lot, so like three 5.8 kilowatt batteries we're putting in, so like 15, 16 kilowatt hours of batteries. So in here, this bathroom, there are various items of electrical equipment in here. There's no RCD protection for the bathroom, which there should be, or there should be supplementary bonding, basically an earth wire between every kind of metal casing of every item in the bathroom. So that would be like from the shower to the pull cord to the lights. But another note, they have an electric shower, which is going to add to the demand of the property. So we're thinking about maximum demand calculation. How much is the maximum amount of power the customer's going to need to be taking at any one time? That's already like at least 32 amps. It's a it's a 10.5 kilowatt shower, so that's like 40, 45 amps of power that shower is going to take. Plus, if they've got an EV charger, that's another 32 amps. You're already at over 70 amps of maximum demand without anything else. And as you can see, he's got quite a powerful computer. He's got this kind of growing system for his tomatoes. There's a lot of power being consumed in this house, so maximum demand is going to be an issue when it comes to installing an EV charger.
You just never ever see, that's really exciting. It's a hood for the downlight to stop and contain like fire and heat in there. But you just never ever see them. They're always just warming up the lagging.
So we used to have to shove these fire hoods up through the hole and kind of fold them out around the downlight, because you had these halogen downlights that got super hot, and the fire hood was supposed to kind of maintain the fire barrier of the ceiling and stop that heat from burning stuff above the ceiling. But now we just put fire rated downlights in, much easier. So welcome to the loft. We're checking the electrics up here, but particularly we're looking at the solar inverter, because we're going to be installing about 15 kilowatts of battery storage up in this loft later on. So we're going to be changing this to a hybrid inverter and then putting 3 banks of 5.8 kilowatt hour batteries along here. So I'm kind of going to be measuring up and stuff while I'm here as well to plan the battery install. But the actual solar install looks like it's been done pretty well. You've got 2 strings. It is producing a decent amount of solar. Right now it's producing 1.85 kilowatts by the looks of it. So it's quite a sunny day. So it's obviously not a massive solar array, but it's certainly enough for them to be able to charge their batteries up during the day and then be able to use that power to run the house during the night.
So we just found this bit of old rubber cable. You can see it's quite malleable still. It ain't perishing, but the inner cores are. As you can see, as you even touch it, it starts breaking apart. And that's why when we find them on the ICRs, best thing to do is just leave it alone, because you're just going to create more faults, and recommend a rewire.
So we've got this battery bank called the Jackery, which we use to just keep the Wi-Fi router running. So we're ready now to turn the power off for the main house, but it means that the customer can still work from home on their laptop. They'll still have good Wi-Fi because we keep the router running using this power bank. What is that? I mean, what on earth happened there? Oh, it's just, that's definitely a DIY disaster. Oh, look at that as well.
Yeah, I've got pictures of that one as well. I'll take pictures of everything I find so that I can write on the report after.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I've done my PFC, live neutral and live to earth. I'm now disconnecting the main earth to get our ZE reading, a true ZE with the bonding conductors disconnected.
For our viewers who aren't technically minded, PFC stands for prospective fault current. That's basically the maximum amount of current that can flow in the event of a fault. And ZE is the external earth fault loop impedance path and the resistance of the external earth system, basically.
So this is a TNS system, so the earth's coming off the sheath. So the maximum we can have is 0.8. In reality, everything's PME in London, to be honest, but it's coming off the sheath, so we're going to say it's TNS.
Wowzers. So there's some serious bang bang happened there at some point where some shorting out has happened and some minor explosions have occurred in the board. Don't know who did that, but I hope they survived it to tell the tale. Several times the copper's been melted, so I mean, what idiot would do that, to be honest? Why would you poke a screwdriver in like that? I have no idea, but that's shorted out and gone boom boom.
So this is how I'll do a global IR. I'll have my line and neutral linked together, all of my MCBs on, go at 250 first, and then up to 500. I mean, the megas would normally reduce the voltage anyway, so I'm getting about 4 mega ohm, and I know if I put that up to 500, it's gonna go down to 0.
You think?
I'm gonna...
Can we do that without frying anything?
Oh, it's holding, it's holding.
Yeah. That's great. And the question is on that though, do you think that that's kind of lower because they're all connected together? And therefore, what would you put down on the report? Would you just put that for every circuit?
I personally would do that as a global IR, because the global IR is the maximum is 1 mega ohm, and then that is a pass.
Yeah.
I mean, we can do these individually now, just out of curiosity to find out which one's doing it.
Because I would say that if we do them individually, we'd probably get off the scale individually.
So I'm just going to check them live earth, not neutral. So solar PV's clear.
Yeah.
Sockets are bringing it down.
Because there's loads of stuff plugged in.
Sockets bringing it down.
I mean, that is good enough to basically say it's a pass anyway, isn't it? But I'd like to see them all off the scale. So what I would normally do is go around and unplug everything, disconnect, turn off the switch fuse connection units and stuff to try and clear any connected equipment, and then that'll probably improve the readings quite a lot. IR, which is what we're talking about, stands for insulation resistance. It's basically a test where we put voltage down the circuit, it's a test voltage, and it will tell us the resistance of the insulation in the cables and the electrical systems. We want to make sure that there's no breakdown in that insulation so that there aren't any dodgy kind of shorts and things in the cables. That's why we're doing this test. This light wasn't earthed when we did the test, so that's why we're taking this particular one off, just to see what's going on behind here. Oh well, there we go, I found the problem already. So I've taken this cover off this light and you can see right away here, the earth wire is just hanging. So that is why it's not earthed, so we can reconnect that fairly easily. We'll just do that right away while we're here, and then we don't even need to mark it down on the report. Yeah, it is class 2, yeah. So the reason this light is not earthed is because it is class 2, so it's got the double insulated symbol there, so it doesn't actually need to be earthed. The only thing about these is usually when they are class 2, they provide you with this special little connector block thing that is like double insulated, and you're supposed to use that, but they're really tricky to use. So people end up doing like this in a connector block, and then I feel like that kind of removes the whole class 2 protection really, because this is metal. You know, that is okay, that's insulated, but not very well. So I don't really know whether it's kind of breached the class 2 rules now, this fitting or not. So I've just taken another one of these down just to check, and again it's the same. And they've just cut the earths off, they've not connected them together, so inside these cables they're not actually earthed. So we'll just need to cut these off, re-terminate them, put some fire rated downlights in, but that's a job for another day.
Yeah, all the inner cores have been cut out, and you've got 2.5 in the load side, and these cores have been cut.
This is a scammer pretending to be from Microsoft, and today he will be opening my camera, but be surprised by his own webcam on my computer. Cloud don't steal any money, and from home it does a check. Bro, hello Anand, how are you doing, bro? How are you doing, my man? Anand, hello? Anand, why are you scamming people, buddy? Why are you scamming people right now, man? Yo, Anand, can you hear me? Why are you scamming people, Mr. Anand? And why are you in a tent? What are you doing right now, bro? Mr. Anand, why are you scamming people? Hello? Mr. Anand? Hello, sir. He shut down his computer. I blocked his mouse inputs.
You have taken a hard position defending both the legality and the morality of the Kyle Rittenhouse shooting thing. Earlier before, I think it was like about a week ago, I tuned into one of your streams and you were arguing with one of your subreddit fans or something. He was complaining about Pixie because she was a woman or something. And at some point in that conversation, he started lecturing you about your behavior. And what you said in response was a little bit interesting. You said that you refuse to change your behavior because it's like a significant part of your brand. So I guess as a follow-up to that, do you think the big selling point you have is that you're like a edgy jerk to people?
I think that it's a fine line I have to walk.
But some part of my appeal is that I'm not like other leftists. I'm like a pick-me leftist, or maybe not leftist, progressive. I don't know. And I think that I get a lot of appeal that way, so I have to be careful not to abandon that too much. But I mean, also, it doesn't mean I can be like maximum jerk off to everybody too. So it's about finding a balance.
Well, I mean, if that's the case, I don't think you're doing that particularly great of a job in finding that balance, right?
Yeah, that's because
Like,
you're a new fan of mine and you have no idea what edginess even means, okay? You literally have no... When did you start watching me? 2020 or 2021?
Excuse me, I'm a very edgy person, okay? I'm hilarious and I'm rude.
Tell me when you started watching me, just so I know.
2017.
Bullshit.
How do you know I'm lying?
What happened in 2017 that made you start watching me?
When you were arguing with John Trauner.
Okay, well, you must not have watched me very closely, but okay. Why? What about it? You think I'm way too mean?
I
You think
actually
I'm way...
lied, by the way. It was 2021.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, okay. Okay.
All right. But no, I do think that you don't have to... I think that not only are you not doing a good enough job toning back a little bit, I also think that, like, I don't know how much I buy that in general, because for starters, speaking anecdotally, me and other people I know personally all kind of learned about you and gravitated.
So recently I have been testing out a service called Ship-It-To. So if you haven't heard of Ship-It-To before, it's basically a shipping service. So if you live in Europe and you want to buy something from an American website that doesn't ship here, you can sign up for Ship-It-To. You can buy things off of the American website and then ship it to their storage, and then they will ship it to you. If you live in America, you can do the same thing. If you want to buy something from Europe that's not available to you, you can buy it in Europe, send it to their European facility, and then they will ship it to you in America. And I wanted to try this out because I live in Norway and we have a lot of things that are not available to us because a lot of American websites don't ship here. So I decided to try out Ship-It-To, and this was all paid for by my own money. I'm not sponsored or anything by Ship-It-To, but I did want to give their website a shot. So this is the order that I got, and I decided to order some things from Wet n Wild Beauty that are not available here, and I wanted to try. So I ordered my package on January 25th, and then on January 31st, it was delivered to the Ship-It-To shipping center in Nevada. They have like 3 different addresses in the US that you can choose between, and I chose Nevada. Once your package arrives to the facility, you will get an email telling you to fill out whatever information is required. For me, that was the customs declaration, and it's basically, if you don't know, a list of everything that you bought and how many of that thing there are, and also the cost of that thing. So for Norway, because we have a tax and customs limit at 350 Norwegian krone, including shipping, this form would tell them how much I bought for and how much I should pay in taxes, or if I need to pay any at all. So I did fill out the entire customs declaration form with everything that I purchased. This package was sent from Nevada on February 1st. On this, however, it says February 7th, so I'm not quite sure what this means, but from the first, it took 2 weeks to get to me, which is pretty fast. I just chose the cheapest option where you pay about $17, I think, for up to 1 pound, and for makeup, 1 pound is plenty of weight. If you're buying like car parts and stuff like that, which I know I have friends who would probably be interested in that, 1 pound wouldn't do you much, but they have different options available for whatever thing you would prefer. And if you want tracking, I chose no tracking because it was cheaper, and also this package wasn't very expensive. It was like, I think it was like about $35 from Wet n Wild, including shipping. They have several different options when it comes to profiles that you can choose. I just used the single thing, so you just sign up, which is completely free, and you just order to their website. And when it arrives, like I said, you will get notifications of what you need to do to complete the order and for them to ship it out to you. But I think Ship-It-To was very easy to use. It was very convenient that they gave you email notifications when you needed to take action and finish something up. And you also have a choice where you can get several packages shipped there, and then they will wait for every package and then ship it out to you all together. If it does weigh more than 1 pound in total though, it might not be a cheaper option than actually just shipping everything out separately, because I think that once you go over 1 pound, the shipping cost does rise pretty heavily. So I'm just gonna open Ship-it-to on my phone and we're gonna see how much of a cost there actually is. Okay, so on their website, it says that saving money is the #1 reason why customers use Ship-it-to, and you can save up to 80% on shipping, which I don't have a doubt about that, because now Wet n Wild doesn't offer international shipping, but when websites do, it's typically very, very expensive. So say like Sephora, their international shipping is crazy expensive. They offer it, but having your order shipped to Ship-it-to and then have them ship it to Norway, which would actually be a cheaper option than using Sephora's or even Kat Von D's international shipping by themselves. And then you can combine packages to save more, and then you can also have them open your package up and have them take pictures of everything to see that everything is whole and that everything arrived okay, that you got everything that you ordered. And you can have free storage up to 90 days, which is nice. There is a tax-free warehouse option, which I don't know because I haven't tried that. And then it says that sending a 1 pound package to Norway will cost $2 per package plus postage. So the cheapest option is airmail, which is $11.04, and then also $2 just for the package, and then you can pay extra for other things like extra pictures or extra packaging. You can pay for extra bubble wrap. There's a lot of extra options if you have something that's really valuable in your package and you want to make sure that it arrives in one piece. They have like a lot of services and prices, which the standard one is free, which is what I chose. And for the standard, you get your own US address and or your own European address, and you will get 3 photos of each package, which I did get, and save 80% on shipping, free storage up to 90 days, and multiple shipping options for each country, which you also do get. And then there's also a premium variety, which is $10 a month or $50 a year. You can choose if you want to pay yearly or monthly. I just, like I said, chose the free version because I just wanted to try it out. I had heard mixed reviews about Ship-it-to, and I wasn't sure if that was something that I wanted to keep using in the future. But if you buy for it, you will, in addition to the other things, get free tax shipping in the US, combine your packages for more savings, and multi-package shipments. So if you're buying a lot and you want everything to be sent to you in one package at the same time, then buying that premium account for $50 a year or $10 a month would probably be a better option for you. Yeah, you could also get like assisted purchase if you would like, which means that you tell them what you want and then they will buy it for you. So if the website that you're trying to buy from doesn't accept a European bank card, you can have Ship-it-to buy this for you instead, and then you just pay them back for it. And I have to say, I really liked my experience with Ship-it-to. I found it really easy to use. I think the pricing is pretty affordable. I remember when I lived in the US and I was shipping things back to Norway, I easily paid $20 in shipping. So paying $17 to get this shipped to me is, I think it's really nice. And like I said, a lot of websites that offer international shipping, like Nordstrom, like Sephora, like Kat Von D, their shipping is really, really expensive. So having Ship-it-to ship it for you would be a cheaper option in a lot of cases. And let me know if there are any other shipping services that you want me to try. I know there are a lot more available. I was looking into another one as well, but I wanted to post this one first and see if you like it, because I know this is more catered towards people who like shopping on the internet a lot. Ship-it-to does ship internationally, so you don't have to buy from the US and get it shipped to Europe. You could buy from the US and get it shipped to Latin America or Australia, Asia, whatever. I really hope you enjoyed this video. Remember to give it a big like if you liked it. Leave any comments down below. Of course, subscribe if you haven't done so already. And I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye!
Come on!
Yo, Doc, what up, my nigga? Gangsta. Yes, this what it is, man. Zone. DMX.
Goofy bitch will get the last if he gon' step about me. That's the type of shit that make me act bad. Get that shit gone if I got a middleman for your attack. Why you try to play with him when you be knowing he a savage? Adding weight on my back, shit heavy, but I can manage. If I put money in your mouth, don't try to take it for granted. Big XO, if they gon' ask about me, just add a stamp it. He thought shit was gon' be sweet, I shook him up, made him panic. He gon' ask me if I seen him, I don't know, it's like he vanished. I might have to take it too far if they making it static. Take a trip back to the city when my people, we ratchet. How you wanna put the bread up, I ain't trippin', we match it. Try to fuck him like hell nah, he like a female, how we capping, well, none of mine gon' play that.
I got thoughts about some money when I wake up, it's a habit. I ain't living in a dream, I know that shit making them mad. Rubber band to hold the paper like the sound of the elastic. I get swerving out the lane for trying to roll this wooden traffic. If you press them, know they got it, they be prone to get it poppin'. Anything to say to shit, you line it up, you out of pocket. Gotta have a few bands ready if you really shopping. Yeah, I've been trying to get a stack, you need them peas, then you could tap in that breath so simultaneous ago. I was coming, told my homie he don't like me. I was rounding me, said nothing. I don't beef cause he a bitch, but I could really show you something. You ain't got no hustle in your ass for real, so why you stunting? And you flexing like you got it, actually you need to cut it. Got the 12s the back of my chest, to see a bitch be bumping. And he asked me about my life, I always tell him, bitch, I love it. Bitch, I love it. Won't ever catch me running from a bitch too quick to bust it. Don't compare me to another hoe. Yeah, I got issues, I can trust them, I can hang around a lane. They the type to go. Now shit, he quick to aim, you gotta hit him with precision. He be talking all the touching, matter of fact, I don't believe him. And I know they hating, you ain't gotta say it. I don't see him, ran it up through every season. They be tweaking for no reason. Really put him in position, you gon' make me pull my resume. Now they paying attention, I see better through some Cartier. I'm smart when I invested, you and spent it in the same place. I ain't even keep a secret, I got rich and gave him freaking. You don't see me round them knees and being probably couldn't wait for them. Was distant from a distance, got the nerve to ask how I've been. I'm a hustler like I'm broke, I got the drop on all the back ends. Ain't approached me right the first time, it's just funny how they pretend. Bitch, I love it, won't ever catch me running from a bitch too quick to bust it. Don't compare me to another hoe, yeah. I got issues, I can trust them, I can hang around a lane. They the type to go. Yeah, they the type to
always live my life alone. Been searching for a place called home. I know that I've been criticized. Ignore the dreams, too many lies. Somewhere deep inside, somewhere deep inside me, I found the child I used to be. And I know that it's not too late. Never too late. dreams too many lies. Somewhere deep inside, somewhere deep inside me, I found the child I used to be, and I know that it's not too late, never too late.
3 a.m. The Patriot Cow.
Legends never die when the world is calling you. Can you hear them screaming out your name? Legends never die, they become a part of you. Every time you bleed for reaching greatness, relentless you survive. They never lose hope when everything's cold and the fighting's near. It's deep in their bones, not right into smoke when the fire is fierce. Oh, pick yourself up, 'cause legends never die. When the world is calling you, can you hear them screaming out your name? Legends never die, they become a part of you. Every time you breathe for reaching greatness, legends never Legends never die.
Attention and how the airbags deploy. So in these updates, if we figure out, oh, there's a slightly better way to deploy the airbags to improve the safety in a crash, we'll actually do an over-the-air update to improve the way that the airbags deploy or the way that the seatbelt pre-tensions. And we're now starting to include our Tesla autopilot AI to be able to see if a